Silent John incremental, another silent instrumental, the nerd rap existential. People compare me to MC Christopher a lot, but the fact is I predicted with significance. I'm the oldest geek rapper by far, say K&R, compiling kernels, open bracket, cause I racket. And my nerds throw your laser pen in the air and wave it all around like you had no repercussions. Now follow instructions, Professor. Why these discussions consist of nothing but incoherent rambling and babbling, but you just still take notes cause you never know what's happening. I'll drop a little nugget, a tidbit if you will. There were 4 United States presidents named Bill. Really? If you run out of hit points, the game will shout.
Your life force is running out.
If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life, yeah. Let me start again, put it on like a cardigan, swinging like my name was Mad Mardigan, which reminds me, Warwick Davis was Willow and a knee walk, Leonard Nimoy was Galvatron and Spock. That ain't typecast, I don't know what it. Talk about predestiny, nobody gets the best of me. I've only played one role my whole lifetime, the nerd lifeline, stream through a wicked pipeline. So no one can bite mine, cause mine is original and I write rhymes to burn on a CD, play in the mini V. Soccer mom, yodel back, yodel at little me. I got a sidekick, I gotta stay connected. Watch out for my D-comma, you'll get infected. And you don't wanna be one of my bots, cause I see it all like Sauron the Cyclops. And I won't hesitate to drop your whole net block if you're acting up and you're dumber than a pet rock. I'm about this nerd life, as you can see, spreading like a virus on MP3. On MP3. STC. Shoutouts to Vic, Agnostic One, up with fucking Silent John. Yeah. Nerd Life, Graphing Calculator, HP48G. The G is for gangster. Digital snip, yeah. You know how we do.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD coming at you with a special live stream. That's right, this is the second live stream of the night. We're going back-to-back live streaming because we got a big, juicy story. Now, I was waiting on this. I was giving Vito a little bit of room in case he wanted to jump on this himself and make a video on it. He hasn't, so we said, you know what? We'll just go ahead and do it ourselves. So I am joined once again by Carl and Bomberny TV. I've also invited a few other people. They might pop in, they might not. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to watch a video of Eric July, the head of the Rippaverse, the main man as far as Comicsgate is concerned right now. He's the man of the hour, the golden boy, if you will, for Comicsgate, for independent comics creator. He made like $3.5 million off of a comic that no one knows what the hell is about, really. I guess he was having live call-ins. He said, hey, people call in. I want to talk to you. Let's get some detractors on here. Let's get some people who have differences of opinions. And, of course, Vito, on his way to film the biggest problem in the universe, he called in. And there was some discussion. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to analyze it. We're going to do the little play-by-play like they do on Monday Night Football or something like that. You know, we're going to analyze the plays, analyze the hits, let you know who scores, who doesn't. And, of course, Carl is going to heavy breathe the entire. But here it is. Here's the video in question. Is this the right video? Yes, it is. So like I said, Eric D. July, Young Rippa, 59. I'm going to put it... I think it's about like 25%, 30%. Let me know if I need to higher it. Let me know if I need to lower it. Are you guys ready? You excited?
As we'll ever be, I guess.
Tony
Definitely.
Shaved just for Vito. I had to make sure that none of my beard hair got in the way of my mouth.
I've seen a little bit of this, but the clip was kind of out of context, so my first opinion might have been wrong of what's actually going on. So I'll be interested to hear it in context.
The little Geeks live on the top right corner. That's right, we're live. That's why it's up there now. It lets you know when this is a live broadcast versus, you know, a pre-recorded video. It's just little touches like that that make this channel just that much better. that much more quality.
All right, let's see what this is. What's going on? You live?
Is this Eric July of the Rippaverse?
Yes.
Can you hear Vito's end? Because he's a little bit lower.
I can hear him.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you can see, Eric July was live streaming it up, and Vito called in. Let's get it on.
Well, I'm very excited to talk to you, Eric, and congratulations on 500,000 subscribers.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited. And where's Esam at? What monetary number are you at right now? 3.4?
Yep.
0.5?
That is correct.
Well, that's very big. So where do we go from here, Eric? That's the question. What is the future of the media landscape? Because you talk a lot about this idea of what do you call it, a parallel economy? What is the term you use?
I've talked about parallel economy, yo.
Okay. Well, what is your vision for a parallel economy? Just the idea that there's a conservative economy and a liberal economy, or
No,
it's
it's just a decentralized economy.
So right off the bat, Eric July, big brain himself, says, yeah, I talked about a parallel economy. As we all know, the word parallel means equal and running alongside. It's a separate economy. It would be an economy for, like Vito mentioned, one for liberals, one for conservatives. A decentralized economy is not a parallel economy. It's not an economy that's parallel to anything. It's decentralized. So
is that basically saying he wants a black market?
No, basically what he's saying, he wants unregulated. Eric July, if you don't know, if you're unfamiliar, he's a libertarian. So basically he wants unregulated everything.
You can't have unregulated currency.
Well, we got it with Bitcoin a little bit.
Oh, that sounds so sketchy. What, like unregulated food and products and stuff?
Well, when he was on the Timcast IRL, he basically said that if someone owned the road, right, that they should be able to do whatever they wanted with that road, deny you access to the road. And if that's an issue for you, well, someone else will just build another road and you could just use their road.
Okay, so I think I have an understanding, okay?
Okay.
It doesn't work, and this is why. And I'm going to have to use some history, okay?
Oh, shit. We're going to World War II.
No. We're going World War One. We're going after World War One. Kind of the midpoint between, after the Treaty of Versailles was signed. Basically, what it ended up happening, they gave Germany, different parts of Germany, the option to print their own currency. And what it ended up happening was it led to inflation. And that's one reason why you can't deregulate currency. It has to be regulated.
Yeah, well, part of that, there's more nuance to that, but yeah, that is part of that. Blinded says, laughing my ass off, Vito always sounds like he's on sarcasm mode. He does whenever he speaks.
Yeah.
It's just the way his voice is. Why use the road analogy? That's an awful idea. I don't mind paid highways, though. Because, again, he's libertarian and he believes that taxation is theft. So in his example, he was basically saying that we shouldn't have to pay taxes in order for the roads to be maintained. Just let somebody own the road. And if that guy's an asshole, well, someone else will just build another road.
But doesn't the government own the roads? They
maintain
the roads.
But the government maintains the road through your taxes. And again, he thinks taxation is theft. He don't think that he should have to pay taxes to the government.
You need taxation.
No, because he believes all the things that the government pays for, he believes that private individuals should pay for it.
And I'm telling you why that's stupid.
We pay for it through taxes. Oh my God.
But he doesn't want tax. What part of this are you missing? The man don't want to pay taxes. He Wesley Snipes up in this bitch. He don't want to pay taxes, all right?
So he'd rather just pay on a use-by-use service. So if he needs the cops, he just wants to, like, pay him when he needs them. Like,
pretty much.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Who's going to pay for the...
That's terrible.
Cyberpunk says hello.
Basically, my understanding would be like, if I own the road, then I would charge you guys to use it, and if you didn't want to pay my thing, then you would use Bob's road, and he might charge you less. So then it would be competing fees, you know, and then there would just be a shit ton of roads. There's just like 50 fucking roads to go down the same way, right? Because everybody's fucking open.
Okay, so this is stupid.
Eric July says he wants in on Monday Night Grift. Unfortunately, this is not Monday Night Grift. I don't have any pull with that show. So sorry, Eric.
I mean, that's stupid because all you'd really have to do is just keep killing the guy who owns the rights to the road.
Well, we're assuming that killing people is still illegal, Carl.
Yeah,
I didn't say we're going total like fucking.
Yeah, but like if everything's like not taxed, then everything's privatized. In order to like get someone done for the murder, someone's gonna have to like pay the money to get the cops to do the job. So you might be able to get away with it because people might be.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's my point.
Well, the government would pay the cops to investigate murders, I guess. I don't fucking know.
It's bonkers.
Let's just...
Oh, Tony, what did you get us into?
Well, parallel makes me think of too.
No.
So decentralized.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah. An economy where people, maybe it's more, creator owned, but more kind of institutions, entities, whatever.
Can you stop it for a moment? I want to. Okay, so I know what Vito's doing.
He's talking. He's asking questions.
Hear me out. He's letting this guy walk himself into a corner. Is what he's letting the Eric do.
That's a tactic of debate. I use it all the time myself.
All right, sorry. Go on.
Or kind of institutions, entities, whatever you call it, that are actually, doing their thing and being successful. Let's say I think in any industry, but I focus a lot more on entertainment. So people that are kind of independent, doing their thing.
Can you pause it?
Well, you're basically saying
this is just so broken. There's loads of independent people running their own independent businesses. This guy just doesn't want to pay taxes.
Well, part of it is because remember he had the whole kerfuffle with PayPal,
right? Yeah.
So which makes no sense, right? Because in a decentralized economy, PayPal would basically be allowed to fuck with you, and you would just take your business elsewhere, right?
Yeah. That's exactly it.
So the fact that he complains about PayPal anyway is kind of all fucked up and goes against everything he claims to stand for. He's a capitalist when it comes to himself. He's a libertarian and free market and decentralized when it comes to like other people, I guess.
Yeah, I'd just like to say on a completely slightly unrelated topic, just because you got 500,000 subscribers, that is no validation for you being an intelligent person at all or having a correct opinion. That just means you have 500,000 people following you.
Yeah, he said like 2 words, and you know how we do it here. It's going to be a 10-minute video that takes us 4 fucking hours to get through.
This is just this is awful. Like, this guy's insane.
American government 101, rules for thee, but not for me. That's all of these guys. If you follow anybody who does culture war, who does all this like right versus left, I'm looking at like, come on, help me out here. Political shit. Damn, my brain. They're all rules for me, or rules for thee, not for me. It's okay when the quartering tells people to contact a business because somebody's evil, right? They're evil leftists. You should let Disney know that you don't hire the evil leftist, right? That's okay. But when someone contacts his sponsor, say, hey, you shouldn't sponsor this guy because he's evil, right? He's like, oh, that's wrong. Don't cancel me, right? Cancel culture's wrong now, guys. Don't do that shit. So all these people are like that.
I'm trying to have an open mind, but everything that comes out this guy's mouth just doesn't make sense.
I don't want to have an open mind.
And it's like he was asked to clarify something, and then he was like, institutions and entities, that kind of stuff. Like I don't even think he's sure of what he means himself.
Yeah, he is being very vague. Voltaire, I've watched the video already, so I kind of already know what to expect. These two, Bob and Carl, have not watched the video in full. But we will hear him out. We will walk him through step by step. And he makes a valid point. We're gonna ding him. We're gonna say, "Good job, Eric. You made a point. Point for Eric." point for Vito. We're gonna let you know who won this battle of the heavyweights, the battle of the big brains. Y'all banned Eric. I didn't ban nobody. Did somebody ban?
Nope.
I didn't.
Yeah, we don't ban people here. Nah.
And getting away from the kind of mainstream grip that we've had for so long, where there have been gatekeepers in media who determine what TV shows get made, what comic books get published. You just kind of want to move into a space where those gatekeepers either don't exist or there's, it's basically more independent created media is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think that's, radical, and I totally agree with that. That's something I've advocated for as well. And I guess where me and you differ seems to be in what kind of products we think are going to lead us into that glorious independent future.
All right, I'm going to stop this real quick. Voltaire says you should have somebody on to give a counter argument. If anybody wants to get on to give counter arguments, it's let me know, right?
Yeah.
I invited all the people from Max's stuff. I invited some other people. If one of those people pop in and they got a counter argument, a counter view, they're more than welcome, right? I'm just not going to let anybody pop in and, say whatever they want. This is not an open panel fucking crazy stream.
Beer back there getting a drink. Keep it going, okay?
We will, Carl. If Eric pops in or one of Eric's followers or somebody who wants to throw in and jump on, as long as they keep it civil, and we'll do that. We're all for that. Now, the point I want to make before Carl gets back is in order to have independent, decentralized, no gatekeepers, the media to make things, you can't just have independent creator-owned IPs, right? Because even though he owns the Rippaverse, right? If the mainstream Hollywood doesn't want to give him a movie deal, he would have to go to an independent studio. So he needs a studio that's independent. Then he's going to need contractors, cameramen and stuff like that are independent actors. He's going to need independent marketing people, right? You can't. It's not just like one piece of the puzzle, and then we're independent, the guys who make the stuff, and then we just go back to the mainstream is for everything else, right? That makes no sense. You have to fucking decentralize everything. Every aspect of the production has to be decentralized all the way through, from the fucking shipping the product to the fucking collecting the money to fucking printing it out to warehousing it. It would all have to be independent, or else you're just basically using the system anyway, right? You're still part of the system. Even if your little fucking cog is independent from the rest of the cogs, you're still using the rest of the cogs.
Yeah. Which sounds like a mammoth task to do.
Yeah, that isn't Vito. It's Carl calling in. Yeah, it's Carl pretending to be Vito. It's Vito pretending to be Carl pretending to be Vito.
And I just want to say I kind of respect the passion and idea of like wanting to promote indie creators and getting them a bigger platform, and getting equal exposure to the mainstream. But yeah, I don't know if the words he's using are the wrong words. Yeah, sometimes.
I think my criticism of you have been that a lot of the excitement I see about your project is not necessarily based on storyline or characters, but merely that you exist as a kind of antidote to Marvel or DC or whatever people think the mainstream are doing. Would you disagree with that assertion?
It's a disagreement that I don't really care about. Let's say that.
Okay, so right there, Vito said that your whole marketing, your whole existence, your whole success is based around the idea that you're an antidote to Marvel and DC. He asked Eric, would you disagree with that? And Eric says, I'm not even going to entertain that because he don't care, which is basically tantamount to saying, yeah, you're actually 100% correct, Vito. I'm just not going to argue the point. I don't care.
Whether I agree or disagree, to me, I don't think it's particularly relevant. I think
he doesn't think it's relevant whether or not people are buying his book for the product or for the culture war.
Well, I think it will become relevant when the product has to stand on its own and people stop buying it because they've just bought the first copy.
Yeah. Did you try to invite Drunk 3PO? No, I don't know Drunk 3PO. I don't know a lot of people in this space. I'm kind of a rookie in this space. I mean, if EVS is around and he wants to jump on, we'll have EVS on. I don't give a shit. I'm just saying, I don't know these people. And I don't have any DM groups with any of these people to like invite them over.
You could invite the Vatican since you are in the running for the Pope.
I could. Voltaire says it certainly is both. He shouldn't hide behind that. I think he's afraid to admit it. He's afraid to admit the fact that most of the movement, most of the people that are excited about the book are excited because it is the antidote for DC/Marvel, right? He doesn't want to admit that, hey, people are getting excited not for actually what I did, as far as what I created, but more the movement of screw Disney, screw fucking Warner Brothers. Drunk 3PO's community, we're hitting your comments. When? Where? When I made a video about Rippa, a ton of people showed up and left comments, but I don't know who the fuck they are or where they came from. They didn't identify themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being a counterculture symbol is a good thing. It is. But like I said, I think he's very... Like, he knows...
to own it.
Yeah, he's afraid to own it. He knows the game, so he'll play that like, oh, no, that's not what it is. Or it doesn't matter. Like, at first I thought you said I'm kind of a Wookiee in this space. No, kind of a rookie. Like I said,
it's a disagreement that I don't really care about. Let's say that. Whether I agree or disagree, to me, I don't think it's particularly relevant. I think whether it's the case or it's not the case, I think it's still beneficial to getting to that end game. But I think my customers that so far with the Rippaverse are people that are enthusiastic. They've come from different walks of life, different areas, and they are enthusiastic about the project.
Okay, he's saying that they've come from different areas of life, different walks of life, as if every product doesn't have that, right? I think there's very few products that you can say like tampons are probably only women, right? It's only going to be females. Pretty sure.
Right.
But anything that's really media related, I don't think there's any media product that you could point to and go, yeah, only white guys age 40 to 45 from fucking Eastern Europe like that product, right? Usually shit's got all over the place. Even us. Even our fucking streams, if you look at our analytics, we're all over the place. We got men, women, old people, young people, really, really old people, men with uteruses. Yeah, so I'm saying he's saying a bunch of stuff without actually saying anything that has any substance.
And that's good. I think that's certainly
my
a
question
positive.
is, you want other independent creators, and sorry to jump ahead of you, you want other independent creators to kind of follow in your footsteps.
Not really.
But
no.
my argument is...
So Vito says, you want other independent creators to follow in your footsteps. And he goes, no, not really. So he's basically saying, I'm not interested.
I would agree. Sorry.
You would agree with what, Carl?
I would agree with Vito. Or the point I suspect he's trying to make.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Eric's basically saying he don't want other people to follow his footsteps. He's not a role model. He's doing the old Karl Malone. I'm not a role model. I'm just a comic book guy.
I would say that's not necessarily accurate. The following in my footsteps, okay. I do believe that there's people that could maybe take, this is why we're so transparent, can maybe take something from what it is that we do, maybe implement it in their own ways, but there is no one way to do it. I think the problem when you look at like mainstream is that there has been, even especially through distribution, there's only one way that one or a couple of ways that people have done things, and it's not decentralized by any means. So for me, if it
Voltaire is right. It's Charles Barkley who did the not a role model. I said Karl Malone. Obviously, I'm not a sports guy. You caught me. You busted me. Vito's biggest hater ever? You're Vito's biggest hater, or is Vito the biggest hater? I'm confused by the comment.
Or is Ripper Vito's biggest hater?
Yeah. That could be read a lot of different ways. So help us out here. Vito literally jelly. because Eric made money, not him. I don't think so. You know what? I'm 100% sure that Vito is not jealous of Eric making money. Nobody who has criticism, if that's the case, if you say that Vito's criticizing Eric because he's jealous that Eric's making money, then when Eric criticizes Marvel, he's jealous because Marvel's making a bunch of money that he wasn't making. Right? That would be the fair assessment.
Yeah.
Influences people, or rather inspires people to go do awesome things. Awesome. You know, that's good. It's not about following in my footsteps, because not a lot of people are going to have $200,000 to put the money up to do what it is that I did anyway. So it's not about people following in my footsteps. It's more about, you know, if people get inspired, and even if it's just one thing it is that I've done that they can implement in their own kind of way.
Corey K says Vito has his own independent comic that hasn't taken off. He hasn't even launched it yet. The Kickstarter for Super Killer has not even launched. He has a sign up for emails. I actually read the script for the first issue, and I was very impressed with it. It was very funny, interesting story. I liked where it went. I liked the story that he was telling. So believe me, I actually got, like I said, I haven't seen Rippa's stuff. He hasn't given me any preview units, no preview copies, no nothing, no scripts, shit. All I know is what he's shown publicly. Wasn't very impressed. Vito, on the other hand, he did show me the script, and I read it. And I was very impressed. I haven't seen all the art. They haven't finished the book. The book is not complete, as far as I know. But what I've seen, I've actually liked. And if I didn't like it, I would tell Vito, hey, this is shit. I actually did have criticism for Vito after I read the story. I was like, hey, I think this is kind of cringe, and I didn't really jive with this point over here. I don't want to spoil anything from it, so I'm just going to be kind of vague. But I was like, I did tell him the same way I would tell Eric or anybody else, hey, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like, here's what jived, here's what I thought didn't jive.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the concept bits which Vito's put out publicly, and I like the look of Super Killer and the little bits of story background to a couple of the characters. It sounds very intriguing. I've also seen the synopsis or the prelude for the Rippaverse on Rippaverse's website or wherever it was, and there doesn't seem to be much interesting details about the story or the characters yet.
Yeah, so
I kind of have no idea apart from a few basic concepts of Rippaverse, what's going on in that world.
Yeah.
And doing their own thing, then that'll be great.
Well, a lot of my criticism has been that, and it's not necessarily aimed at you, but kind of people around you, some of these commentators who go, well, this is a big wake-up call for Marvel and DC. I disagree, because I look at Marvel and DC and I go, well, what could they do? Start hiring YouTubers and influencers to make comic books? I don't think that's a viable business strategy for them. But I think you would say, no, the wake-up call is that it's not political, right? And that's what people want.
Well, I think that's it's maybe part of it, that people, maybe there's a bunch of potential customers that feel kind of disenfranchised from with what's happened with the industry. Maybe they're turned off to what Marvel and DC certainly has done with their books, maybe as of recently, poor quality, and they see someone like myself who comes in and you know gives his kind of interpretation of comic books, the American, and told in like the American like storytelling kind of way.
And just real quick, because I know everyone always makes fun of me when I'm stuttering and stuff. This man does this professionally. He is a musician. He's a singer, I think. I know he plays guitar or some shit. He also got 500,000 subscribers, and the man is stuttering and tripping over his words. So I don't want to hear no more criticism from you guys about that shit.
Or whatever, and people are enthusiastic certainly about that. And that's a good thing. Like I say, that's an awesome thing. There's going to inevitably be people that see that and also do great things from it because of they're inspired, or maybe there was an idea that was given to them by way of something it was that I did, you know, or didn't do for that matter. Maybe it's something that I didn't do, and they think that they can do better, and they do better, and they see more success. So I think it's
well, I'll
not.
say this. Sorry, yeah. And real quick, just so you know, I'm driving, so if I cut in and out, I'm sorry. I'm actually on the way to do my own podcast, the biggest problem in the universe.
Okay.
People want to tune in later. It's going to be a
Vito plugging in, the biggest problem in the universe.
good
Lol.
show. I guess what I want to say is, Eric, I very much appreciate the spirit of independent creation. I think it's very exciting.
Justin, the reviewer, says, is he stumbling because he's nervous? I think he's stumbling because he knows who's on the phone. He knows that's Vito. He's going to pretend like he doesn't know that's Vito. But Vito has a very, very, like his voice is like, you know it. You can pick it out of a crowd. What's the word I was looking for, Bob? Unique. He has a very unique voice. Distinctive. There you go. Thank you, Carl. Vito has a very distinctive voice, so he knows who he is. He's had back and forths on Twitter with Vito, as far as if I remember correctly. He's also tried to dunk on me on Twitter, so it is what it is. So he knows it's Vito, so it's not like. And I think what he's trying to do is, I think he's trying to say things in a very specific manner, so as not to give Vito any room to make an attack or get a gotcha or say, "See, you said this," and blah blah blah.
He's being very dismissive of everything Vito's saying and not really answering questions directly.
He invited haters. He must have been prepared. You would think so, but we've done that too, and we've not been prepared. Mad Max invites people all the time, and he's not prepared. So,
Yeah, agreed.
Blind Abreu says Eric July hangs around people who know Vito. So yeah, if I love Vito so much, why don't I marry him? Because that's Carl's boyfriend. It's Carl's boyfriend.
Shut up, first of all.
Hamster's Advanced Author says, who is Vito? Vito Gesualdi. He's a internet comedian, one half of the Biggest Problem in the Universe podcast. He has his own YouTube channel. Actually, has two, Vito 2 and the Vito Gesualdi channel. He has an upcoming comic book called Super Killer. You can go to superkiller.org, sign up to the newsletter. He was also at the Netflix protest where he was holding up the sign saying jokes are funny, and then he got assaulted by the trans rights activists who were protesting Dave Chappelle. He went on a bunch of different talk shows and press, talking about jokes being funny. And he's also, most importantly, friend of the channel. So that's who Vito is. Also, Carl's best friend.
I mean, while we're at it, okay, go on.
While we're at it, what?
Guys, I don't hate the guy. Okay, I really don't. I just don't feel anything regarding the guy at all. I mean, his name, I think about it the same way I think about Darius. I just don't care.
Yeah. Corey K says, "Where is my Amico?" No idea. It's not. It doesn't exist, Corey. It's not a real thing. So Rippa has beef with this guy for some reason. Rippa, I guess, invited people to call in if they had issue with him, detractors, critics, whatever. Rippa is very thin-skinned. For someone who makes a YouTube career out of criticizing product, criticizing Marvel, criticizing DC, the MCU, the MCU, and all that, the second that criticism has been leveled at his comic creation, he immediately goes on the attack, immediately sicks the dogs on people. He can't take the mildest criticism. Me, under 1K channel, I had a little bit of criticism for him. He immediately quote tweeted me, and his flock they understand what that means, and they all came and attacked. And all I did was compare some of his characters to the villains from Superman 2. Said, hey, I'm getting the same kind of vibe from these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
To be more indie creators doing exciting things. Where I've been upset is the way people are talking about your campaign. I'm not going to say you've positioned yourself this way, but there are people talking about your campaign like you've done something radical that's never been seen before. And I go, there are plenty of independent creators right now, or who have existed in the past, I don't know, dozens of years, who are making these comics we're talking.
All right, so he looks like he's already rolling his eyes. He doesn't want to hear this. Vito's basically saying, you're not the first to do this. People are acting like this hasn't been done. This is a new concept. Like, there's independent creators. There's people doing this shit all the time.
Walking Dead, Invincible, so many others. I know that's like the same creator. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even know. Right? There's other people who are basically doing this without all the accolades, without all the attention. And Eric seems to be very annoyed by this point. I want to get to this comment. Hamster's Advanced Author said, my other channel only has 1 subscriber. And he responded to my comment as well. Yeah, I think he does it on purpose because he knows you're a smaller channel and he could ratio you and his followers will jump on you. And it's a bully tactic. Wiley, what's up, Wiley?
Hey, Wiley.
4 million is pretty good. Like making money. No one's arguing that he didn't make money. I didn't say he didn't make money. I don't think Vito, Bob, Carl, or anyone else has ever criticized him, said, hey, he didn't make money. I said, good job. You made some money, right?
Yeah.
I don't care about how much money a product makes. That's not what we do here. That's not the criticism that I've ever levied at anybody. I'm concerned more about the art and the artistry. I'm more concerned about the story, and that's the criticism that I've leveled at him, at other people. When I review a game, I don't say, hey, this game made X amount of dollars, so it's good. No, I just go, hey, this game does X, Y, Z well. It does A, B, C bad. The goods outweigh the bad, or the bad outweighs the good, whatever, right? I talk about the product and what it does and what it presents to the audience and whether or not it's worth the audience's time and money. So I don't understand. I know you're trying to throw this in like this is a gotcha or this means something, but it means absolutely nothing. If he raised $0, I would still have the exact same criticism that I've had so far. And if he raised $4 billion, the exact same criticism would have been levied at him.
It'd be like it's like these people it'd be like, oh, you can't criticize Avengers Endgame because it made billions of dollars.
Yeah, Lorenzo says anyone who criticizes July is labeled a racist by his fans. Yeah, I was called white. They're like, oh, of course you white guys are going to criticize this black creator. I said, first off, I'm not even white, right? I don't know why you got that idea. How did you came to that conclusion based off of never seeing me or never interacting with me prior to me criticizing Eric? And secondly, I didn't bring race into it at all. I've never mentioned in any of my criticisms of Eric that the fact that he's a black man, right? If you listen to my video, if you don't actually watch the video itself and you just listen to it, you would have no idea what Eric July's racial makeup is or what his political leanings are, because I don't think I mentioned either one of those in my entire criticisms of the product. It was always on the product in what the product was presented as and what it was, the little snippets that they've released so far to the public.
I'd also like to address Corey K again. It's impressive for one guy with a YouTube channel, right? Well, yes, maybe, no, because he did say he started with $200,000. We don't know how much money of that got spent on marketing and promotion.
Nothing yet. That $200,000, from my understanding, was just to have the stuff printed and the posters and stuff, and to get the deals with the warehouses and the printers.
So
hold on, Carl.
Okay.
He's not just one guy with a YouTube channel. You make it sound like he has 100 subscribers, right? He has currently 500,000 subscribers. He has a job with Glenn Beck at The Blaze. He is well known in the culture war community. He's well known in the anti-SJW community, in the whole geeks and gamers thing. This is not a unknown person who decided to make a comic book. This is a very well-known creator in this space who said, hey, I'm making a comic book that's going to be different from the stuff that Marvel and DC are putting out. And immediately, that's exactly the stuff that the people who watch his content and watch the content that is adjacent to him are interested in. And that is what sold the comic. He never said, here's the story, guys. Let me know if it's good, right? Just another viewer says, have you read it? I have not. Again, as far as I know, he's given out no preview copies to anybody. He doesn't want to do any digital. He wants only physical. He's holding back on the first orders until he gets the second ones printed so he could release them all at the same time, which to me means that he doesn't want the story to get out because it's weak, and then he doesn't want people canceling their orders before he can ship them. Because once he ships them, you can't cancel them.
That sounds sketchy.
He was supposed to have the orders going out in August, right? That's what the original campaign was. It said in August we're going to start shipping. Then he turned around and said, no, actually, I'm not going to start shipping until the campaign's over, which was 75 days, which would have brought us into the middle of September and never August. So August was never on the table, but he was saying August early. So now we're into this, the moving ship dates, the slipping ship dates. So sometime in September, my book will be sent out, and I will receive the copy, I will read it, and I will review it, and I'll let you guys know. Now, I'm sorry if I'm long-winded, and I'm very thorough in my explanations and talking, but when I get going, that's how it is.
So, number one, if we're going to criticize anyone for money, in relation to earning any sort of money, I'm going to criticize Tony for not making enough money on his book.
Yeah.
Second of all, I never once heard Tony mention in relation to this guy about race or anything like that.
Voltaire says, what is there to criticize? The sample panels he put out? Yeah, because you could criticize the campaign, the marketing that he's done for the campaign. You can criticize designs. Yeah, you can criticize the character designs. You can criticize the story synopsis and the little bit of story that he's put out. You can criticize the art that he's put out with the book. Because remember, the criticism that he's levied against Marvel has included story, characters, characterization, tokenization, the art, their marketing. So all the stuff that he's criticized is fair game to criticize on his stuff. And then when we get the story, when I get the actual book, then the criticism on the actual story itself can happen. Right now, I can only criticize what is available. And again, it's all fair game. You put your work out into the ether, and the ether is allowed to go ahead and criticize you. Hamster's advanced author. I do not think that being woke is what tanks things. Bad writing makes sales tank. It really is as simple as that. I'm going to say yes and no. I agree with you that bad writing is usually the problem. Being woke will not necessarily tank something, but it will affect sales because people who are scared of woke, right, are not going to buy it. So you're putting off people who don't want to, even give woke a chance. So just being woke will put off a section of your customer base.
Okay, so can I take a shot at guessing? I've really no idea what woke is. I've just heard a few things about it, but I heard it once mentioned as giving opportunity to people of color. Am I right on that or not? Or please explain it to me.
Okay, so originally, being woke was a way to say like a call to action in regards to social justice, as far as like police brutality and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has since evolved within the vernacular of people like Eric July to mean anything that is left-wing liberal. It's basically a term that they just use, and it's so nebulous that you can't actually pin it down, right? Like if you go, hey, well, this isn't woke because it's not like the other thing, right? You go, well, that's not what woke means. Woke means whatever. Like whatever they want it to mean in the moment, Carl, that's what woke is.
Okay, thank you.
So it's said Tony is just winded. Yeah, sometimes. What else? Tony is long donged. This is true. I'm guilty. Guilty as charged. Just another review said I didn't notice Wiley on the last stream when he was setting up a meetup with Bob. Hey, what's up, myself and comics? You're back to watch the superior Rippaverse versus Vitoverse stream.
Less screaming.
Yeah, less screaming, more actual intellectualism and discussion and explanation.
Analysts.
Yeah.
Eric July invented tokenism. That's right. He invented the current definition that he uses.
Pretty much, yeah.
That aren't, overloaded with political messages, which I also despise. I think it can go too far. I totally empathize with that. And I don't understand why I'm being told that what you're doing is so revolutionary. Do you think that this is a revolution you're starting here, or are you just a guy making a comic?
Maybe. If hell, I welcome it. If it's going to again inspire people to go out there and be great, then that's awesome. Or if they think that this is going to be something that they're going to be paying attention to, I'm a one to keep up with for the upcoming years, then that's awesome as well. I will take that certainly, and I will have these guys as customers long term. I think I've given them good reason to be enthusiastic about this project. This is something I'm very knowledgeable on. I've been talking about in comics, for a while now, and I've done creative things certainly in the past.
All right. I'm not going to argue this point. That's not why I stopped the video. I stopped the video because I seen this comment by Corey K. He says, woke basically pushing liberal political ideas where they don't belong, like video games and comic books. Okay, so first off, why would they not belong in video games and comic books? Video games and comic books, as far as I'm aware, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Corey K., as far as I'm aware, video games and comic books fall under the umbrella of art. And art is allowed to be anything that the artist wants it to be. If the artist wants to put liberal politics and ideas into their art, then they're allowed to do that, right? You don't have to consume it. You don't have to enjoy it. You don't have to like it. But they're allowed to do that. So political ideas of a leftist, liberal nature belong in everything that is artistic because there is no rules to art.
Yeah. One example of a game that does have political, politics in the story is Final Fantasy X. It's loaded with politics.
Yeah, and even then, like, I just find it like I'm not even really that left or right. I kind of consider myself a centralist, maybe slightly leaning towards the left. But like, I just find it so like redundant to argue we can't have representation of different people in media. Like, I just find it such a stupid thing to say. Like, why wouldn't someone like you might have like why? I just don't get it. It's just nonsense.
Carl, I'm going to ask you to try to control the breathing a little.
Sorry, muting.
So liberal politics, they belong anywhere the artist wants to put them. Just like right-leaning politics, if the artist wants to put right-leaning politics, Final Fantasy VII is technically very woke because it is all about environmentalism, about the earth, about mega corporations exploiting the earth and causing mass genocide of the planet. It's very woke. Voltaire says, woke for entertainment equals shoehorning politics and social issues and stories.
We've discussed this before. Like, if it is done by like sometimes by and usually by like the uppers of the companies, but if it's the author's intent to put quote unquote woke characters or woke stuff into entertainment, then there's no problem. I have no problem with it.
Yeah. I understand when something is ham-fisted, it might not work. You might say, oh, that didn't work, or that was weak writing, right? But that doesn't, bad writing doesn't mean it's woke, right? Bad writing doesn't automatically mean woke. I don't know what else to say about that. Fair point. Hamster's Advanced Author says if it's right-wing politics, then they're cool with it all of a sudden. Yeah. The reality is they do not have problems with politics and political stories. They have issue with politics and political stories that have politics and political leanings that are against their own, right? They don't care about politics. They don't care about right-wing politics or centrist politics. They care about left-wing. They don't want to deal with it. They are entitled. See, that's the true problem. The true issue is people like Eric July and his fans are very entitled. They feel like they own the property. I own Marvel. Spider-Man is mine. It's my character. They should not make him gay because I decide if he's gay or not. And that's not how it works. The artist decides. The person who owns the IP, who's in charge of it, who's writing the story, they decide. You get to decide if you like it or not, but you don't get to decide what they do with the character.
Yeah, pretty much.
Would you like political ideas in a Mario game? Would I like it? No. So I wouldn't play it. Would I complain? Would I say this is a bad game because it has political ideas in it? No. If the game was bad, would I say it was bad? Yes. If the game was good, I would say it was good, right? If they decided to make Mario goes to the UN and it's all about fucking politics. I mean, that's what the game is, right? Whatever.
Well, I'd like to extend a concept out here. Isn't Mario as a character very political? He's an Italian plumber created by a Japanese company for an American audience.
I mean, if you want to, I don't like that. And this is where probably like me and Bob disagree. But I feel like artistic intent, authorial intent, needs to really be the main focus. So if the person creating the work intends it to be political, then it's political. If the person creating the work doesn't intend it to be political, like Mario was never intended to be political, it was intended to be a fun children's game, then we should not start trying to find politics in the game. You know, the curtains are blue. Sometimes the blue curtains are just blue.
Yeah,
they don't mean anything.
I also, and where we would disagree is I'm very into the whole idea of death of the author. That once you've put,
I hate death of the author.
You hate it.
I hate it.
Well, I like it because when a creator puts something out there, it's down to the audience to interpret it.
I see. I knew exactly we were going to disagree on that point.
Yeah, that's fine. We can't agree on everything.
Playing Lord of the Rings online has me agreeing with Bob.
Death of the author, but Lord of the Rings Online has nothing to do with politics. That has not. Death of the author, La Mort de Auteur, is about the interpretation of the work, as far as political and the critics' assessment of it. Right, it has nothing to do with whether or not they change something so it can fit into a game structure, or they change something so that it works in a more gamified nature. Which is what you are happy with, Carl, because Lord of the Rings Online gamifies Lord of the Rings in a way that makes it better to play. But what Bob is talking about is like when someone goes, well, Mario's political because Mario is taking down the King Koopa and Mario's like for the people, so that makes him a communist revolutionary who's trying to overthrow the bourgeoisie King Koopa, who is leading his fascist troops against the minorities in the Mushroom Kingdom, right? Like none of that's in the fucking thing. You're just making that shit up out of your ass. And that I don't like that. I don't agree with that 100%. The critics should not be adding and injecting their own political ideology into the critique of the work. We got Top Loaded Gamer here. He says it's overused totally today and misused too. 2 days ago, I was pumping gas and a lady said she was woke because of her born again Christian. She was bragging that she knows the end is near. So.
And I kind of agree with that. Like maybe like I'm like when death of the author is taken too far to the extreme like that, I don't agree with that. But I think that a level of critics' interpretation, like when it's relevant, can be superimposed onto something.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm trying to get to the comments as fast as I can. Like I said, I am long-winded, and sometimes I go on little mini rants. So I'm going to get to it. If you said something, I'm going to get to it, hopefully. Hamsters Advance Office says, let's just pretend for a second there's a really well-written black transgender lesbian in some book or comic book, but it's written really well in all aspects. July would still call it woke. Well, he calls Miles Morales woke, even though everyone agrees that it's a well-written character. It's a well-written comic. He calls, what the hell's his name? The Green Lantern, the black one.
John
Stewart. Yeah, he calls John Stewart a token and woke and all kind of things, regardless of the quality of the book. And Corey K says you can't have it the other way. You couldn't have a pro-life final. You could have a pro-life final. Who says you couldn't? You're making that rule, Corey, not me. I didn't say you couldn't. Whether or not that gets produced, whether or not you say, well, the creators of Final Fantasy wouldn't allow it, that's a different subject, and that's a different conversation, right? But if they said, here's the IP for Final Fantasy, make what you want, and the guy made it pro-life, then that's what it is, right? If the artist and the people working on the game decided that was the direction for the game, that's what it would be. Obviously, they haven't decided that, and that's why we haven't got it, but that doesn't mean it couldn't happen, right? Unless you can show me some document from Square Enix that says you can never have pro-life messages in Final Fantasy, then no, you're completely, absolutely wrong. And you're just making up a straw man argument because what I said was very factually and intellectually correct, and you have no rebuttal. Yeah. Blinded says, I think something being woke also has to be preachy, like changing the name of X-Men because the team has women on it. Yeah, so like that would be a woke marketing thing, and that would be like a woke branding issue. But that doesn't necessarily mean the comic itself is woke, right? Unless it's addressed in the comic on a regular basis and there's like a whole storyline about it, and, then that would be like a woke comic. But again, I think you got to understand, like something with comics, right? You could have issue 99 of Spider-Man be super woke, and then issue 100 is not woke at all, right? Because it would be an issue by issue basis. You have to assess every issue on its own. It's like its own mini story. And because characters change and storylines change and things happen, you could have a totally different interpretation of the character by the end of the run. She-Hulk is the hot topic right now. Everyone's talking about She-Hulk. When she started off as the Savage She-Hulk, she was totally different than what everyone knows and loves, than the version of the She-Hulk everyone falls in love with. That's the John Byrne run. When John Byrne got a hold of She-Hulk, he totally changed the character into the interpretation that everybody's familiar with. And then later on, another artist and another writer got on the book, and they changed things a little bit different. And there was a run where she became part of the Phoenix Force, and then she got more monstrous, and people were all offended because now She-Hulk wasn't sexy. So, I mean, things change, things happen. And you can go, is She-Hulk woke? Well, maybe she was woke in this issue, but she wasn't woke over in that issue, right? And then maybe 10 years from now, it might be unwoke again. So.
Yep.
Top Loaded had a good point.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to everything. He says the whole video game industry is left-wing. It's not. It really isn't. Because there's right-wing creators. I would call The Binding of Isaac. There's a lot of right-wing messages in that. If you look for them, it's really biblical. Blasphemous has some biblical stuff in it. There's games out there. You just got to look for them. There's political ideas in Mario games, though. I mean, there is some, but when you talk about the original Mario, there's like no political anything in the original Mario. Mario's for everybody, exactly. I was born on Mario Day, by the way, March 10th. There you go. So I know about Mario. Honeymoon's over, Bob? Mario Maker 2 talked about capitalism. I have never played Mario Maker 2, so I couldn't give you an assessment on that game. Explain my position on what?
I think he was,
On Mario Maker?
No, I think he was talking about Death of the Author.
It's like when people say They Live has anti-Semitic themes when it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Read faster. I'm sorry. It's not the reading part. It's the me saying a lot of things part that gets us slowing down. Is this the one? But Miles Ultimate Comics started before the whole culture war BS. Miles Morales is woke in the same way that Ultimate Nick Fury is woke. That was long before Gamergate and Elevator Gate and Dongle Gate. Actually, from my understanding, Rippa says that Miles Morales is woke because he's basically Black Peter Parker. That they just took the Peter Parker template and turned him black. And that's the only difference between the two characters. Regardless of the fact that Miles Morales has different storylines, he's had different events happen to him, he's had different things in his career.
He's a different character. He has different responses. He behaves differently to Peter.
But because of the basic, teen, high school, parents, Spider, I guess that makes him Black Peter Parker.
Doesn't Miles Morales have different powers?
Yes, also true.
Yeah, he does.
He can camouflage, and in the game, he has like an electric attack. I don't know if that's in the comics.
Blinded Braille, Eric July and EVS say that God loves, man kills. The X-Men storyline is not woke.
Whew.
Well, see, that's another thing, right? They'll say things like, well, we don't want current day politics in the comic books, right? And then they'll point to something like X-Men and say, well, X-Men did it well, right? Because the X-Men represented minorities, and then you had the whole Charles Xavier as Martin Luther King and Magneto as the other one.
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, thank you, right? And that's what they'll say. But what they fail to realize, what people fail to realize, is we are looking at it now, and we go, hey, those aren't current day politics, right? But when the X-Men comics came out, that was the current day politics. right? The current day politics
Yep.
in the 70s was what the X-Men was talking about. They weren't talking about 40s politics in the 70s. In the 70s comics were talking about the 70s politics. They have 70s political messages in the comics. They were current day. They're not current day for us now because we're no longer in the 70s.
Yeah,
So-
and I think I'm of the belief that all art is political.
I mean, like the X-Men cartoon animated series is pretty political.
He says if you look up Tripwire CEO, he got fired for being pro-life. That wouldn't happen if he was a left-winger. They don't allow it. The CEOs don't get fired. So, A, you're wrong already. CEO will be asked to get stepped down. A board can come in and have you removed as CEO, but you don't get fired. I don't know the story, so I can't give a full assessment of it. But if you're a crazy left-winger, if you were the CEO of a company, of a video game company, and you were being crazy left-wingy, and you were like, fucking bomb the U.S. and assassinate Trump and stuff, and you were saying all that crazy shit, they'd remove your ass too, right? Anything that's going to affect their bottom line, they're going to remove you because it's a business. It's not a charity. It's not a hug box. It's not a place for you to have friends. Anything that hurts business will adjust and correct that action. Whether that's a CEO going out there and causing problems with a pro-life message. And again, just being pro-life was probably not the issue. I can 100% guarantee it wasn't he said, I'm pro-life, and then they fucking pushed him out, right? He was probably getting into it with people about it. He was probably getting really loud and fucking obnoxious about it, right? Like Gina Carano was not pushed out because she was right-wing. She was pushed out because she was being a bitch on Twitter. And when they told her to stop, she kept doing it. She doubled down and fucking spurred out again, right? Hamster's Advanced Author says, the only thing I do agree with Rippa on is the importance of canon. As a DC fan, I do tend to stick around. As a DC fan, I do tend to get stick. I think she meant get sick. Get sick of there being 20 different versions of Batman running around. Yeah, I agree to an extent on canon, but I think okay. So here's the issue, right? Comic books were never meant to last as long as they have. Okay.
Yeah.
Comic books, when they were originally created, they were like one-offs, one and dones. The whole continuity and all that. 20 years later, no one was expecting Spider-Man to have lasted as long as he had, right? Because they've seen the other comics. You had the horror comics come and go, and the model comics, and sci-fi, and all the other different things. Cowboys. So they thought there was eventually going to be a filter out, right? So now you're going to have to allow some sort of wiggle room, right? Because Spider-Man, if he meets John F. Kennedy, for example, right? President John F. Kennedy's in Spider-Man 100. Well, if he's still 26 years old, 500 issues away, but we're in current day and now it's President Biden, right? You can't have Spider-Man meeting President John F. Kennedy in the current issue of Spider-Man, right? He has to meet a different president. So now you're going to kind of wiggle it around. You got to kind of pretend like he never met Kennedy, right? So it happened, but, there's like a bubble around it, like a time bubble of magic. You get the same thing with like Frank Castle. He fought in the Vietnam War originally, right? And then you're like, oh shit, now we're too far out from the Vietnam War. He's like a fucking 80-year-old man running around. Now we got to like switch it up and say, oh, actually he fought in the Korean War. Oh, now he fought in the fucking Gulf War, right? They did the same thing with Iron Man in the movie. They say, oh, originally it was Vietnam. Now it's like, oh, fucking Desert Storm. Right, so you got to have some wiggle room. Canon is important for the most part. I think it's important for a structure of the character, but I think there has to be some sort of adjustment and wiggle room in there.
Yeah, and also, probably a little bit off topic, like canon is important, but also there's accessibility for new audiences and for people to get into comics. If there aren't like occasional reboots in DC or occasional like new number ones, like, and you've just got a continuous series of like 1 to 1 million, like how's a new comic book reader going to like be able to digest like hundreds of comics like before they can jump into the current storyline?
Yeah, I think from my understanding, I don't know if DC does, but I think Marvel has like a little like summary type thing. Like here's like the highlights of this character before they hand it off.
Right.
Blinder Braille says EVS even says that Stan Lee only went along with the analogy because people brought it up to him. Well,
No, we've looked at this before.
no, I'm not to dunk on Stan Lee because he was a great man. He did a lot of good things. I know he has his detractors and he has people who say Stan Lee is taking credit for things that he didn't do. But I will say Stan Lee did have a habit. He was a Tommy Tallarico type of person who would have a habit of just like whatever you brought up to him, he'd be like, oh, yeah, right? He'd tell a story one time and then like 20 years later, he'd tell a story again and it'd be like totally different. What's up, Blinded? You're jumping from the chat into the fucking thick of it.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say something real quick. It was a response to Bob, I think he just said maybe like 5 seconds ago about the whole comic thing. What was your last point? That just repeat it again.
The entry point for new comic readers.
Yeah, okay, about that. Okay, because you were saying that they need to like reboot ever so often. But I think that's the reason why comics now are doing like really bad, is because they reboot way too often. Like if you look at Marvel is doing this dumb shit where it's like they would have like, okay, Captain Marvel, and she gets relaunched every year. So there's always like a new #1 for Captain Marvel. And it's like, what's the point of that?
Hold on. Because that's a totally bad example. And I'm going to tell you why. The whole reason that Captain Marvel keeps getting relaunched is because
Marvel they do it for Spider-Man too.
No, but the reason for Captain Marvel, specifically Captain Marvel, this only applies to Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was originally not their IP, right? The name Captain Marvel. That belonged to the Shazam character. That was Captain Marvel. But when that company went belly up and DC bought the Shazam character, Marvel slid in and created Captain Marvel, the original Marvel, right? That caused DC to have to rename their comic to Shazam. Even though he's called Captain Marvel in the comic itself has to be called Shazam because there was a big lawsuit. And basically, if Marvel does not put out a Captain Marvel comic, they will lose the right to use Captain Marvel as the title of a comic book. And because Marvel is petty.
So wait. So are they have to put out a new #1? Because that's like totally different.
They have to put out a new comics within. So no, because they could put out a comic for say like 100 issues, right? Or 20 issues or whatever it is. And then just sit on it for like 6 months. And then they have to put out a new comic. Because after they would lose the right.
Sure, I get what you're saying, but that's not like my point. My point is that like
just for Captain Marvel, because the series doesn't do well.
Well, Marvel does this to a lot of characters. As I was saying, they recently were doing it with Spider-Man, maybe back in like a lot of people where people were.
Well, here's the thing, Blinded. For that, people buy #1s, and that's
yeah.
what it is.
That's the reason why. But at the same time, this is if you see right, like they're handicapping themselves because it's like if you see the trend, it's like everybody buys the #1 and then it declines, and then once it hits rock bottom, they just go, well, fuck it, we got to reset. And so same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, like in the last 2 years, has had like 3 #1s, and it's like, and so they're like, oh fuck, well we'll just go up to like issue 12, and then we'll just get a new writer. Right, and then put out a new #1, and then it's a whole new story. So it's like there's really no point in keeping up some of these stories because they're just gonna, the writers are gonna change so frequently, where it's like they don't really get to define their own run. So then you're like, well, what's the point, right? Like something should last at least, in my opinion, like 3 years. You know what I mean? And then you can change hands, right? But like that's not what Marvel is doing. At least Marvel, DC has had a relaunch recently, but they're sort of sticking with it, and they usually relaunch like maybe every like 6 to 7 years, right? So while Marvel is just relaunching all the time.
Well, here's the thing. At one point, the Ultimate Universe was supposed to be the relaunch. They were going to end the 616, and then for whatever reason,
I don't know if they're going to end it.
Yeah, they said they were going to end it. That was their plan.
Oh, that's crazy then.
That's why, but then they got gun shy because people were like, no, we don't want the Ultimates. We want the originals. And that's why they ended up killing off the Ultimate Universe. Marvel should make non-canon line like DC. They did. They had several non-canon comics. Not a whole line, but I mean, they had the What If was non-canon. The Exiles was non-canon. They had Squadron Supreme. That was non-canon. The other Squadron Supreme, what was it? Supreme Power. That's non-canon. What was it? I think Punisher Max was non-canon. I think the whole Max line was non-canon. I think it was like 4 or 5 different comics under that.
The thing I want to add to Blinded's point is I find it frustrating how many like different soft reboots Marvel does. Like I forget all the eras, but there was like one point where they were like the new Iron Man, and then they change it to another thing, then another thing, and they try to do these like kind of like vibing all the characters together in a new kind of feel, and that frustrates me with Marvel. I forget the eras, but it's kind of like how DC had like the new 52 and all that stuff, and then they changed.
Yeah,
it
Marvel really doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like they would just you would just go off like Silver Age and then Bronze Age and then
I think they
etc.
do a bit more than what people like to claim, because I've seen at least 3 or 4 in the not too long past.
Like Marvel usually does like they would have like a big brand push where it's like, oh, all new, all different, right?
Yeah,
and then afterwards, where it's still in continuity.
Well, I guess Heroes Reborn was sort of.
Yeah, Heroes Reborn is like really the only example, and I guess Ultimates if you're going to include that.
Yeah, I was thinking of like Marvel Now and all new different Marvel.
No, that's just like a whole like branding, but not.
Yeah,
still,
Top Loaded is saying Marvel Now too. That was like 2012.
But they didn't really change. I think Marvel Now just updated some of the things like I said with like Punisher's origin getting moved from one war to the next.
Yeah, that was Marvel Now was like an effort to like capture all the people that were coming in from the Avengers movies, right? Because that was like big at the time. So they're like, oh, let's just reset everything, do number ones. That's when that stupid number one trend started.
What's up, Carl?
Are we gonna watch is that the end of the video?
No, there's like 20 some minutes, 25 more minutes of the video, Carl.
Okay, I'm gonna hop off now because Tommy's giving me shit. So I talk in long paragraphs. Continue.
I don't care what Tommy's giving you shit. Full No Comic says, "Let the book stand on its own. When we finally read it, no left wing or right wing agenda or identity politics. Let the storytelling speak for itself. We haven't even seen a single lettered page." That's what I'm saying.
Agreed, but we can make some assessments and some judgments on the bits and pieces we've seen leading up to it, like the character designs, the synopsises.
Well, what he's saying is let the book stand on its own. He wants the whole marketing of anti-woke and all that. He just wants the fucking thing out already.
All right, yeah.
All right, let's continue on. We're 7 minutes and 51 seconds into this 32-minute video.
And, for my audience and people that are potential customers, they want to get in on it. And they're enthusiastic, and they have every, of course, right to be enthusiastic and stoked about it. And I think, again, it's a combination.
Well, see, this is what they do, and I know we just fucking went like 20 seconds and I stopped it. But he said that my audience is enthusiastic and they have every right to be enthusiastic. Now, what he's doing here, this is a technique, it's a tactic. He's putting it into your mind that Vito and people like Vito and his critics are saying that his audience doesn't have the right to be enthusiastic. And that's never been a criticism that's been levied against them. No one says your audience doesn't have a right to be enthusiastic. No one ever says they shouldn't or they couldn't or that, it's fake enthusiasm. But he's put that implication in there by saying they have the right. He's implying that someone has already said they don't have the right. Pay attention to when people talk like that.
Yeah, I also want to put out here that like my criticism, I don't know if if Tony's gonna agree with this. My criticism of the product and my opinions of whatever I'm reviewing, whether it's positive or negative, I don't want to take away your enjoyment. If you enjoy something which I think's bad, and my opinion is my opinion, your opinion's your opinion. Don't let my opinion detract from your enjoyment.
Yeah, I've always said this, and I've always said, if you're going to listen to a reviewer, find someone who has similar taste to your own, right? If you like RPGs, find someone who likes RPGs. So when they review an RPG, it'll be closer to your own preference and closer to your own thoughts and opinions. So you'll know whether or not you would like something, right? I don't like sports games, so I would not listen to a review from someone who's a huge sports fan because that wouldn't be helpful for me. But someone who isn't a sports fan that goes, hey, this is a good game, even if you don't like sports like me, I'd be like, hey, that's helpful to me because I don't like sports, right? So again, also, I'm not here to take away your enjoyment. My opinion should not affect your opinion. I like things that you don't like. You like things that I don't like. I use this as an example a lot. But the movie Thunder Force, Vito hates it. Vito ripped it to shit. He said it was terrible. I actually like the movie, right? I like it. I thought it was enjoyable. A lot of people say it's a shit movie, but I like it.
Oh, that's going on my watch list with Mobius.
Of multiple things that are culminating here, and this is why it's had the reaction that it has certainly had. And I don't think any of that, let's say, people being enthusiastic about it is, I think it's warranted.
Follow up on a point you just made about the enthusiasm. I understand that your fans are enthusiastic, but I think you have to also similarly understand that those of us in the industry who have seen publishers come and go, big creators promise the world, we're treating you with a level of skepticism, because lots of comic book companies have come out and done huge. Valiant came out and did huge. You know, Image at its heyday.
Let me just say this. Let me say this. I would say this. I don't care that you guys are skeptical, to be completely honest. That's not.
Oh, that's a lie. He says he don't care that we're skeptical. Meanwhile, he's responding to people with tiny audiences and quote tweeting people and telling people they're morons and crackheads on Twitter.
Okay.
That's not anything that's really important to me.
Skepticism, you're very unwilling to hear. I don't know. I mean, let's be fair. I'm throwing a little bit of shade. I'm having fun. I am a commentator. If I've been overly harsh, I'm sorry. It's just part of Twitter.
Okay.
But yes, we have skepticism, and I don't understand why. You know, there's these commentators in the community who I think are supposed to be skeptical of media. They're very skeptical of anything that the mainstream does. Marvel, DC, they'll tell you, well, it's probably going to be garbage. It's probably going to be bad writing. We don't know. For you, they're kind of giving you a pass. They're saying, Eric's our boy. He can do no wrong. Esom is going to be the greatest comic of all time. And when I see that, I go, well, that's not reasonable. If these guys are true critics and commentators, shouldn't they have some skepticism? We haven't read the book. We know very little about the story. And I kind of am questioning their takes on it. Do you think you're being given, you know, kind of a big push from your buddies?
I think that there are plenty of commentators.
Their audiences?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of commentators that are supporters of mine, that are fans of mine, fans of my previous art projects, and they believe in their friends. Or
that he's answering the question in a way that wasn't asked. Vito said that he believes people are giving him a pass on certain aspects of his campaign that they would not give a pass to Marvel or DC. Now, instead of Rippa saying they're not giving me a pass, or they are giving me a pass and I don't care, he literally goes past that point and doesn't even address it, and just goes, well, yeah, my friends are believing in their friend and my previous work and blah 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 blah. But he's not addressing the core argument that Vito's making.
He's not answering it directly, but indirectly, he's basically saying, yes, they are giving me a free pass because they're my friends and commentators who I know.
No, he said they believe in me. So that's not a free pass, because those people have complained when, remember, they'll call anybody a shill. Someone who says they like She-Hulk, they're shilling, you're giving Marvel a pass, you're not being critical enough, right? And he's done the same thing. So Vito's basically saying, hey, the shit that you've thrown at Marvel, you and yours have thrown this shit and these arguments at other commentators. Now we're throwing that shit at you, and you don't want to deal with it. You're pretending like you don't know what we're talking about.
Right, yeah. So
to be fair, Vito's backpedaling. I think he's trying to drive too. But yeah, Vito is kind of, I think he doesn't want to push too hard and then have Eric just dump him off the call.
I also think Eric's being unfair to the questions and not answering them.
Yeah. Top Loader says, if I could ever get home, I'd come on for a bit, but I'll add this. If Eric July was saying, hey, I'm going to make a platform based on free speech, people would get what Vito's trying to say. Yeah.
For people that they have been keeping up, certainly with. Again, that's one of those things that you're going to have to discuss that with him if you want them to be saying a specific thing. I don't know what.
See, again, he's like, well, it's not my fault. It's not my problem that they're not being critical of me, and I'm not going to address that fact. Just talk to them. Complain to them about it. I don't care about it.
It is that you actually want them to
I know
criticize.
you're not saying it, and that I guess just the frustration.
Real quick, does anybody else see this? Is this like just on my
Yeah,
computer?
no, that's jumping out to me. I cannot stop fixating on that picture and thinking, oh my god, that's just a blatant Invincible ripoff.
Well, not the I'm talking about like right here. Okay, see this black?
Oh yeah.
It looks like it's like over the arm. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just weird coloring. Just looks bad. Looks weird.
Yeah.
Is when I see guys whose job is to be critical about media, and they go, Eric July is the next Stan Lee. I go, guys,
yeah, Eric's just playing dumb at this point.
Hyperbolic with this, okay? And I want honestly, Eric, I hope your comic is great. I want to read it. I hope it's good. But I'm a guy, I'm naturally skeptical.
Again,
okay?
that's the part that I don't care about.
Hamster says he's just got to say, yeah, I understand the criticism, but I think the book itself is good. Yeah, there's ways to address and be like, you know what? I see your point, but I can't force somebody to be critical of me. I wish they would be harsher and look closer at it because I know it'll stand up to any criticism. Or just fucking lie and be like, they can't be critical because there's nothing to be critical about because my shit doesn't stink, right? You couldn't argue with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or he could be like, they haven't read the comic, so they can't be critical. They can't give me a proper opinion.
Yeah, something. But he's basically trying to just dismiss and like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. It's playing dumb.
About,
The
like,
Amico
that's
argument.
cool, man. Because if you
It's fine if you don't care. I'm just telling you.
right, and that's
Go ahead.
but you know, as far as this, it's like whether you're skeptical or not, the books are gonna always be around. And if you decide to change your mind and you want to be a customer in the future, it'll be there. But your gripe right now seems to be with other creatives that have absolutely nothing to do with me. And I would
argue that this is a disingenuous argument because Eric obviously retweets people. He obviously says, hey, look, this guy's talking about the comic, or hey, this guy's doing positive coverage, or I was on this program, or this article was written about me, right? So obviously, if he's using that as part of his marketing, he's aware of it and he knows that they're not being critical. So if he is promoting it, he's also contributing to the issue that we're discussing here, right? If it just was on its own, if like say Jeremy Griggs from Geeks and Gamers was just, blowing smoke up fucking Rippa's ass and saying how great he is, but then Rippa didn't actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, Bob, help me out.
I don't know what you're going on about.
Say the sentence again.
I'm saying if the people that are saying good things about Rippa, if Rippa didn't retweet them, if he wasn't promoting those products, if he wasn't interacting with that stuff, then I could understand his argument. Like, hey, it's not my problem. They're doing their thing, and I'm just not worried about it, right? But if you're actively promoting other people fucking giving you a hand job, right? Then you're part of the problem. Then it is 100% also on you. Right? If you made a video, Bob, saying how great I am, right? If your video was like Tony's fucking great, and I was like, and I retweeted it, right? That means I'm basically endorsing it. I'm endorsing Bob's take, right? Yeah, and that's what he's doing.
Tony is the greatest human being in the universe.
Yeah, he endorses their takes. He endorses the articles written about him, the people promoting him, the people saying these good things, the people not having the criticism. So now he's got to own that fact. Just say, yes, I seen that they weren't being critical, and I still promoted it anyway because I'm trying to make money, and I don't give a shit.
Right.
I would argue that you should take that issue up with them if you do have a problem with what they're, I guess, not saying about my particular project or my specific book. There very well may be a confusion as on your behalf as well as far as what they have been critical of.
See, now he's basically saying, no, see, guys, they weren't critical of those other things because of X, Y, and Z, or because they're critics. They're critical because that shit sucks, and that's why they're critical of that other stuff. There's no reason to be critical of me.
Past as far as what the direct criticism is. Maybe it's a confusion there. Maybe you think that they are supposed to have a position that they're supposed to have and they don't actually have that, which may be why they're not saying what you want them to say or expect them to say about my specific project. So again, for me, the books are always going to be around if you want them. But if you do have a specific problem with how a certain creative, I don't know which ones that you maybe have in mind, but if you have a problem with those creatives and what they're not saying, you should probably take that up with them.
Well, I also take issue with, you kind of leaning into this idea that you're the antidote to Marvel and DC. Because, again, I see plenty of independent creators who have been doing the same thing that you're doing. So what is it specifically that I'm supposed to... Why is the Rippaverse God's gift to comics? Why not indie comics in general?
If you're not if you don't get it, maybe it's not something that is appealing, let's say, to you as far as what we are presenting. But that's the beautiful thing about the market, is that maybe you're not as privy to it, or you don't like this, or maybe it's something that you don't really want to invest in. But there's other people, thousands of other people that have made their...
And Blinded said, isn't Eric July making a political statement by not including politics in his comic? He didn't say he wasn't including politics. He actually has danced around it and allowed other people to say things like it's anti-woke, and he's promoted those things through retweets. But he has actually never come out and said, and he just says, well, Marvel does X, Y, and Z, and we're not going to be like Marvel. He's very careful in his messaging.
Didn't he just give the "it's not for you" statement?
Pretty much. And again, Vito wasn't asking if it was for me. What he was saying is, you're leaning into this anti-Marvel, anti-DC message. I think that's kind of dumb. And Eric, instead of addressing the point, is just like, well, if it's not for you, then, it's not for you.
As I said earlier, Eric's just dismissing most of these questions and answering them in a way which he wants.
Yeah.
Decision that this is something worth keeping up with, and something that they are going to be very they're obviously showing how enthusiastic they are about that. So it's not about us trying to
enthusiastic. Go ahead.
Well, it's not that to me, it's not that. It's less about me being God's gift to comics. I think it's less about that. I think it's more about, hey, this is a creative guy who has a creative project, and I've presented it in a way. I've given my public code of ethics. I've talked about these things that I care about, and what we're going to be emphasizing. The transparency element. I think it's angled. It's multi-angled. Like it's certain people have gotten here, and
so he says it's multi-angled, but he won't own the fact that one of those angles is we are not Marvel DC. We're not going to be woke SJW politics in our comics.
So it would seem.
What's up, Gary? Top Loaded says, I honestly think his Christian character is going to have Christian values in the same way that a feminist would share their ideals. Yeah. I have no faith whatsoever that Eric July is going to be able to remove his personal politics and his personal experience from his work. Whether it is consciously done or subconsciously done, that's how creators work, right? When I write a story, or if I write something, invariably, things that I think or things that I'm feeling at the moment will creep their way into the story somehow.
It's incredibly hard not to create a character and not it be a self-insert.
Yeah. And whether or not it's the main character, maybe Isom isn't the self-insert. Maybe one of the other characters is a self-insert. But there will be some of the values from Isom are going to be directly influenced by Eric July's own experiences, his own feelings, and his own beliefs and ideology.
Well, if he's the key main only writer,
he is.
Then surely it's all going to be from him and from his influence. That's something which I like about reading books. Like when I read a book written by an author and I'm reading these different characters, I almost see each character is a representation of the author's different sides or different parts of their, character. Yeah.
When I get my story all wrapped up and finished, I want you guys to be like, oh, that's the Bob character, and that's the Carl. It's fucking Blinded over there.
Yeah.
And gotten enthusiastic about this project for various different reasons. I think it's a combination, certainly, of all of that.
Well, let me tell you what really, probably the biggest problem I have Now, I would say you're probably a guy you take issue with this kind of woke marketing, right? Like Pride Month shows up, everybody changes their icon to a pride flag, and the Skittles are a rainbow and whatever else. It feels like I'm not being sold a product. I'm being sold a culture war. I'm being sold a identity of some sort, right? Do you understand what I'm saying with that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way about what you've been selling me. I feel the same as looking at a bag of rainbow or whatever, white pride Skittles, whatever the fuck they are. I feel like I'm not being sold a book being told, hey, here's, how great the characters are and the story are. What I'm hearing, and, all the news coverage around it is that, well, it's anti-woke. It's a part of the culture war. We're going to win. We will win this war against the woke monotony. And frankly,
just his body language alone, he's very
fidgety, nervous.
I was gonna say annoyed. He seems very annoyed with Vito. Like he doesn't want to deal with these kind of questions. Like these questions are too close to home. He doesn't want to answer them. These are questions that he does not want to be answered because he knows the answers are not going to be things that his audience is gonna like.
I don't like products that are trying to sell me based on the culture war. I want to know what's in the book.
Well, there's
we see this with Gina Carano's new cowboy movie. Real quick, I want to give an example where all the ads I get for it are not, hey, this is a great cowboy movie with a great story. It's the evil leftists canceled Gina Carano, and this is your chance to make a stand by watching our stupid cowboy movie. To me, it feels very transparent. And it makes me worry that your product doesn't really have any bones if you're forced to rely on what I would consider a marketing.
Well, I've paid $0 in advertisement. I've not done such a thing, and the term woke or even mentioning wokeness or anything has not been a part of any trailer. Any
See this again. This is very disingenuous because while he might not have used the word woke, he has in the past described Marvel Comics as woke, right? So his audience has already been trained. Marvel Comics is woke. He then goes on to say, our comic is not going to be like Marvel. It's going to be different from Marvel. We're going to be better than Marvel. So while he does not directly say, my comic is going to be anti-woke or non-woke, he's already told you that Marvel equals woke. And by the transitive property, my comic not being Marvel means it's not woke. You just got math.
Like on our website, whether it be with the campaign story or any of that, none of that is present at all. It's not there. It doesn't exist. We've certainly been leading with the.
But you lean into it.
I don't.
Multiple news articles.
Yes,
call your comic anti-woke.
I've seen that, but I've never presented my comic as anti-woke. Never once have I done that.
So again, I would say if you present Marvel as woke and your comic as anti-Marvel, then 100% you've promoted your comic as anti-woke.
Then let me ask you a question. Is your comic not anti-woke?
My comic is, if I would say it's not woke. No, I wouldn't say it's anti-woke because I'm not making a comic.
Those news articles are incorrect.
The ones that maybe say anti-woke, there can be some inaccuracies there because I'm not doing this to be antithetical to what they do in action. So basically presenting something, I don't know, in a parody or something of them.
I'm glad you're willing to admit that. But you from me on my side, I see a bunch of news sites saying anti-woke.
That's not my. That's not
these articles.
Yeah.
Top Loaded say it's too hard of an interview, not to boost at all, but it reminds me of my Tommy Tallarico during my interview. Yeah, he's basically doing the same thing, dancing around points, trying to make a point that isn't exactly what you asked him in order to get the answer that will satisfy the audience without putting him on the spot to admit things.
Yeah, and I was just skimming through the Rippaverse website, looking at the language used, and it's basically insinuating a lot of stuff which he's denying. He may not use the word anti-woke or whatever, but like getting back to the essence and stuff. So,
hold on then. What's the point of the Rippaverse? I'm confused. The point is we're not Marvel. Give me money. I am Eric July. I would like a bunch of money. And if you give me money, then we win and we beat the woke. That's the point. But he would have you believe that the point is that I'm awesome at writing comic books and everyone loves the comic book that I'm writing that no one has ever seen anything of.
Oh,
And that's fine and all, but like I said, like none of that stuff is present on anything that I've talked about as far as like we look at our trailers, you look at our promotional stuff.
But again, I would say that if you go on Fox News, right, and if Fox News' little chyron says Eric July, creator of anti-woke comic, Isom, right? I would think that it would fall upon Eric to instruct Fox News, say, hey guys, that's not correct. Can you change the chyron? Or hey, if Fox News doesn't want to do it, or if they're unable to do it, to then turn around later and go, hey guys, you might have seen me on Fox News and it said anti-woke. The comic is not anti-woke, right? Because it'd be the same way if they put me on something, say Tony TGD, the anti-Amico critic, right? I'd be like, no, whoa, that's not true. Don't put that on there. I don't want that on there. Could you retract that statement? Because that's not what I want to be presented as. So obviously, he's comfortable with allowing other people to present him in a certain light because he's issued no complaints to those people when they present him as a certain way.
You got to highlight Mr. Beefy's comment. It's hilarious.
This one right here?
Yeah.
The Geek Getaway streams are anti-woke because they put me to sleep. What's up, Top Loaded?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man.
Coming in good?
Yeah, you're coming in good.
Good deal.
Have you been enjoying this?
Yeah, it's making me passionate about talking, so I figured I would come on for a little bit. So can I make a point real quick?
Yeah, I was just gonna say if you had anything to say up until this point about what we've discussed.
So earlier I tried to touch upon it, but so many characters. But basically, in the past, right, you've had these companies come along, and I'm trying to remember the names, like Candid and what was it, Periscope and whatever, and they're like, we're going to be the free speech platform where nobody's going to get, banned. No one's going to get, their money taken away. We're not going to bow down to Apple, whatever. We're the anti-woke, free speech platform, blah, blah, whatever. And I think it shows parallels to the way this guy is sort of in the mythos of everything, where it's along the same lines. He is essentially a free speech platform where it's just as untrue for all of these platforms that they were going to be the answer to censorship and for all these people. This guy is in no way going to be the same thing. It's going to fall flat just the way those other apps did. And I'm pretty sure one of the apps was like literally spying on people, just because you agree with someone on one thing, which is like, I don't like the gays or whatever it is, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to, brushes over
You're just
everybody.
giving an example. It's all right. Don't try not to get stressed over it, okay?
But I'm not stressed out.
Well,
But what I'm saying is, you agree with someone on one thing. That doesn't mean like they should be your best friend and your holy savior, right? Like, I agree with Vito on a slew of topics, but I also have a house full of guns that I'm sure he would, absolutely, give me the third degree on. Like, why would you need an assault rifle and all of this stuff? It just makes no sense to throw in your hat so much with this guy simply on one topic.
Yeah.
So I think they're setting themselves up for failure in this guy.
To touch on the point that you made, I remember there was a big movement to go to Gab. Everyone go to Gab. Gab is going to be free speech. It's going to be Twitter, but free speech. They're not going to censor you or anything. Then I think it was about 6 months later, Gab said, hey, no porn, because we are Christians here at Gab and we don't like porn on our platform. Everybody had a shit fit. They said, wait a minute, Twitter allows us to have porn. Why can't we have porn on Gab? And Gab said, no, we don't want it. We're free speech, but we just don't want porn.
Right.
And that's the same thing that we're going to have here, right? He agrees with you. He says, yeah. He gets you in the door. He says, whatever you want. No politics. Come on in. And then he has a superhero that has a big fucking Christian cross on his fucking crotch.
Right.
So, Blinded says,
Tony,
what's up?
does that mean we're getting porn tomorrow?
No point. YouTube won't allow me. We got shit when we showed some fucking asses in bikinis. People are ride or die on their ideology. It's self-defeating. Yeah. And to, like Top Loaded said, there are many things that I agree with Vito on. There's many things that I disagree wholeheartedly with. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes, good shows and good conversation. You don't have to agree 100%. Me and Bob disagree. We disagree on this show. We disagreed on the last stream.
Yes, yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's watch a little bit more.
Stuff and all that campaign
Eric,
stuff.
It kind of
It's
seems
not
like
there.
you benefit from that perception.
Me
And you
benefiting
kinda dance
me.
around it and you retweet it.
Well,
because
me
you want that
benefiting from me
perception,
benefiting.
ultimately.
Well, me benefiting from people that think that this is the anti or as you mentioned as the anecdote that's one thing, and that's fine. I'm perfect.
Again, I would stress that it's not the fact that he's benefiting from it, right?
Yes.
If somebody put out an article and said Eric July is the anti-woke whatever, right? I don't think that's an issue. I think the issue becomes when Eric July starts promoting that article or promoting that live stream and saying, hey, yeah, watch this because they're talking about me. Good, right? Because now he's endorsing it. Now he's saying, yeah, I agree with what they're saying about me. Unless he's like, no, guys, I'm not anti-woke, but he makes some other good points, watch this live stream or read this article, then I would agree with him. But again, he never points out that he's not the thing he's being labeled as. He just promotes it and says, go ahead, watch this, read this.
If I'm going to benefit from it, awesome. I'm a capitalist at the end of the day. But to get to gripe about something that I haven't personally presented it as.
Real quick, Darius, we don't censor people here, but we also don't attack people. You might have issues with Top Loaded, right? You might have issues. I don't want to time you out, but if you start attacking people personally,
is there something going on in the? I'm on the private chat. Hold on.
I think it's a fake Darius. People are saying.
Oh, I don't give a shit.
No, yeah, but it's one of the rules.
It's all good.
The only rule we have here,
Red Boy, you can talk about my GoFundMe. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, dude, in the span of a year, I've lost my house and had a heart attack. Like, more than anything, the heart attack is like, dude, I don't give a flying fuck.
and you were chain smoking on fucking Monday Night Grift. Just had a heart attack, guys.
Yep.
But
so like, it's whatever.
I understand that you don't mind it, but as far as the show, because I want to keep it, within terms of service, and I want no problems with YouTube. I've always said, say whatever you want. You can come at me because it's my fucking channel. You want to come at me, it's fine. But I want everybody who's on the panel. I want when I have guests on that you disagree with. I don't want people attacking them because I've had issues where I had, like say Retro Bro on, and then all the anti-Miko people attack them, or Cyrus comes on or something. I want to make sure that it's a safe haven, safe spot, safe space for everybody to talk and give their opinion. So don't attack the guest. With that said, Garden Gnome wants to know where the hoe's at.
No clue.
Especially, I mean, it's even less about that because you then would have to, if you're going to say like that's the thing that people that I'm leaning into, or like that's the main controlling dominant thing, it's kind of disingenuous considering the numerous amounts of fan art that's been out there. We already have all these people that
I don't understand how fan art proves anything. People are drawing fan art that proves that these articles being written about you are not about anti-woke. Because Vito didn't say anything about the fans. He's talking about content creators, media outlets and things like that.
They're doing videos about, what's going to happen in theory and all that stuff. Animation. We've had continuous like animation that has been brought up, and like I think it's being a little disingenuous to act like, oh, well, that's what people leaning into. Well, what about the fan art and the other thing, cosplays? Like I had 2 people cosplay when I was at Anime Matsuri. I think that.
All right, again, Rippa here thinks that we're stupid. There was 2 cosplayers at Anime Matsuri. One of them happened to be Krista Nova, who is affiliated with Geeks and Gamers, who is affiliated with Eric Rippa, Mr. Eric July, Young Rippa, who is a frequent guest on the Friday Night Tights. So it was not some random person who showed up and did cosplay. It was actually somebody who was a friend of his who specifically said, "Hey, I have a surprise for you," and showed up in cosplay of one of the characters. Right? So I wouldn't really count that. You had one person show up in cosplay, not two. Come on.
Yeah, I had to ban that Darius Truxton because it's a imposter account and they're going overboard.
Yeah.
And we don't do imposter accounts, do we?
Nope. I mean, if you're impostering like fucking someone famous that we know is, never going to show up here, you're fucking Charles Barkley in the chat. Probably will give you a little bit of leeway, right? Because we know Charles Barkley's not going to be here. But don't impersonate someone that shows up regularly in the chat or on the channel.
Yeah.
That's worth mentioning as well, and that didn't have anything
Well, how many
about to do
backers
with
do
the
you have?
wokeness.
If you got thousands of backers, I would expect a couple cosplays.
Yes,
I guess
exactly.
what I'm
So
gonna say
there's
is,
that.
Eric, I personally am the kind of guy who, if someone tells me I made an anti-woke comic book, or if they're retweeting articles about how their comic is anti-woke, I go, well, this is not something that I'm excited about. That does not excite me.
That's what you would do, and you're certainly welcome. I don't know if you are a creative person at all, but you're certainly welcome to do whatever you feel like is certainly best for your project. If that's
So he says, I don't know if you're a creative person yourself. Again, he's pretending like he doesn't know who Vito is. He doesn't know who this person is. Earlier in the live stream chat that's been recorded here, someone mentioned that Vito was in the chat prior to jumping on the call. So Eric knows 100% who that is, right? He knows who's on the call. He knows the history of Vito, what Vito does. He probably 90% sure that he knows that Vito has a
I'm
comic
sure
coming out.
all the guys, Jeremy and all them, informed him as soon as possible if he didn't already know coming into this.
Yeah, so it's all kabuki theater.
something like that you do or do not want to do. When I talk about the decentralized kind of economy, certainly in entertainment, I encourage you to do that. So if there's something that you want to do, or you think that that this is a way that it should be done, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. But like,
well, I'm glad you bring that up, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm currently working on a comic book called Super Killer, which you can view at
That was asshole move. Right,
that was a big asshole move.
He basically set Vito up to talk about the comic. He said, I don't know if you're a creative. That opened the door for Vito to then say, I am a creative and here's what I'm creating. Right? Eric opened the door, and now he's pissed that Vito walked through it. And so he threw a little tantrum.
That's why you don't do that.
He dumped the audio. So there's no audio here because Vito is talking, but he doesn't realize it. He can't.
Look, with a great story.
And then Eric checks. Oh, he's still talking about the comic. He dumps the audio again. Now here's my biggest question. Eric July's audience. Does anybody actually think Eric July's audience is going to buy Rippa's comic or is going to buy Vito's comic? Right?
No.
So what is he afraid of? If Vito plugs the comic, there's nothing to fear. Vito's not going to get any boost. Right? People are not going to be like, oh, I got to go check that out. Because
How many viewers did he have at this point?
I don't
200. I don't want to insult the guy if he's like at 1,200 viewers, but it seems like it'd be 200-300 or something, And then this morning when I clicked on the video, it had like 5K views. Like, really?
Yeah. So he must not have had that much. Maybe a couple hundred.
Probably somewhere about there, give or take.
Yeah, but the other issue is, right, so if Eric was smart, because Eric presents himself as a smart guy, and I said this in the private DM group, I said if he was smart, he would have let Vito plug the comic, checked how many people have signed up, and then like a week later go, remember when you came on my show and plugged the comic? You had 1,200 people signed up. You plugged your comic on my show, and now you only have 1,205 people showed up. Your plug didn't do shit because your comic sucks. My people went and checked it out. I gave you free promotion on this huge channel with 500,000 subscribers and all these passionate fucking comic book fans, and no one signed up for your book, Vito, because your book is shit. But instead, he threw a tantrum like a baby and dumped the audio.
Well, I have something to kind of add to that, but I'm gonna let you play it a little bit more.
Quagmire that has been driven into the ground, and people are being worked up into a frothing mess over it. We're now cheering that movies and cartoons are getting canceled because they might have been woke. I saw yesterday Heel vs. Babyface is excited that a follow-up to
All right,
Batman the
you can
Animated
pause it.
Series got canceled.
It just he's so mad. He's so visibly mad right now. And I think if my whole point with Vito, the way he did this is he's supposed to be a pain in the ass right now. Like he's not giving him softball questions. He's absolutely being a pain in the ass. So to me, it's played for laughs. The fact that he went for the plug on Eric's show, it was played for laughs. So even if the dude would have muted it, he would have been more like, oh, no way, buddy. Look, and then mutes, Vito, but to where Vito can still hear him. I'm not gonna let you, plug this, nice try. What he could have still muted him and still played it where he's
Yeah.
not, teeming with hatred for the guy.
Yeah. I mean, from a side perspective, it is kind of funny Ripper muting him, which he should have like leaned into and like gone more the humor route, like, oh, this guy's plugging his shit, let's mute him. But like, no, he's definitely seething and angry.
Yeah, like I said, and no, I'm not implying that Vito's comic is shit. I'm implying that Eric, if he was thinking about it, that's the route he should have went, right? Because again, he doesn't want Vito to plug his thing, and obviously he thinks his book is better than Vito's. So that would be the angle, right? If you came on my show and like you super chatted me $10 to go check out your YouTube channel, I would be like, yeah, I'd read it. But like, yeah, go check out his YouTube channel, and then see what shitty views you get in a week, and then I'd go and dunk on you. I mean, it's the same way when people make videos on me. Hold on, Carl. When people make videos on me, right? The first thing I do is fucking tweet them out and say, there you go. Here's this video that someone made on me. Look how many views you got because I'm that important, right? People want to see you talk about me because I am that important. Go ahead, Carl.
I'm probably being a little obvious here, so I apologize beforehand.
He is black, Carl.
No, that's not it. Ha 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 ha. I was gonna say it seems like Eric July is the kind of person who wants to be in control all the time. A total, control freak, to be more obvious, simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be a bit of a control freak to want to put out your own your own comic written by you with as much done by yourself as possible. It's his vision at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's woke. Frankly, this kind of rhetoric seems to be about canceling creators rather than lifting them up. We're going to cancel all the movies and TV shows because they might be woke. Even if the Batgirl movie is woke, I still want it to get made. I want to see it, and I can critique it and pull it apart, even if it sucks. I feel like we're entering a very anti-art, anti-creator sentiment with this "we must destroy woke media." Yes, I think there's some terrible stories and political media out there, but I think that this war is getting out of control, and I think we need to refocus on what is quality. And I'm hoping your book is quality, Eric. I'm going to hopefully get a copy, read it, and I hope that you can back it up. But I must say that all this anti-woke marketing stuff, whether or not how active you are engaging in it, I don't know, is odious to me. And I think, honestly, if it works, you're right. Under capitalism, it made you millions of dollars, so God bless your heart. But you have to understand there's going to be guys like me that think it's just...
that's already expected. Again, the thing is, I just don't care. Like if that's how you feel about...
If he doesn't care, why does he have this whole stream of people come in and talk to me?
Why is he so mad?
That too.
If he doesn't care.
He cares all right. Big time.
Yeah. Hey guys,
just a way to skate on the criticism, man.
Yeah, I don't care, but I'm gonna have Vito call in and have a whole stream and dedicate 32 minutes of my life to talking to him because I don't care about his criticism.
No, I don't know. I don't know what that is in the chat, but I think somebody's being
handling it. Yeah,
targeted. Yeah.
Damn people. This is why
I've
we
got it,
can't have
Tony.
nice things.
The
Damn.
way that I can
Maybe
obviously
subscriber
Take
only
the
mode.
culture war seriously,
every sit.
yes?
Well, of course,
Handle that while I go to the YouTube page. We almost made it. What? How many hours? Almost 2 hours without an incident.
Is this a normal occurrence or is it just because I'm
No.
here?
It's
You're
Normally we
special.
don't have
That's
this so bad.
every once in a while, someone will come in and do something stupid like this, but
no,
not-
but in all seriousness, it happens sometimes. It's the nature of this community.
It's the nature of being a content creator. There's always a
There
few
you go.
bad eggs.
subscriber mode is engaged. If you haven't been here for a week, sorry, sorry, but you're not going to be allowed to chat. It is probably one particular person who doesn't like us.
I do, but again, like legitimately, I don't expect to have every single person on board with everything it is that I do. I just don't.
Like leftist, yeah.
Well, no, it's just like,
destroy...
yeah. My thing is, like I said,
I'm
like
going into a tunnel. Hold on.
If people. If people are critical, and I say this, I guess, to the audience, why he's doing whatever he's doing. If people are critical,
he's doing whatever he told you he's going through a tunnel.
Critical of it, let them be critical. Certainly of it, they can do whatever it is that they want to do. But I'm not in the business of trying to, definitely to some folks that I don't know, I'm not in the business of trying to convince them in the event that they've already made their mind up because they think I should be doing something their way. I'm not in the business of actually trying to like adjust because they are themselves skeptical. I don't really care about that. That's not particularly
well, I
important.
think because this is again the culture war is very near and dear to you, and you do believe that you're launching a meaningful volley against, I don't know, I assume some leftist cabal that's trying to destroy media or something like that. Yes.
I think that this is something that will show folks that
or groomers, or trying to turn everybody gay, that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's just more of I am doing something independently, and it's showing people that those folks that have certainly felt disenfranchised, be it with entertainment or whatever, have a lot of power and stuff like, let's say, influence in their capacity to.
Here's the thing that I'm going to argue. I don't think that this shows that anybody has any power against the woke, quote unquote, media or whatever, because you're not taking any money away from Marvel DC. He's not stealing any customers, right? He's targeting the disenfranchised, the people who were not buying Marvel, who were not buying DC. You have not hurt them in any way, shape, or form by creating this comic book and launching this campaign and making all that money, right? That's done nothing to them. So
I like the way they sort of speculate, like, well, what if this he creates this sort of Image Comics, sort of thing where all these people can go and start making their own indie comics within and get help from this guy and whatever. And it's just like, he's gonna have to face backlash too and make monetary decisions. And that's why I bring up the point about all the other free speech platforms and all that. He's going to face the whole censorship or lose sponsors and all this eventually too.
yeah, I don't know if there's any ads in the comic book or whatever.
No, but what I'm saying is if the way they're speculating about him creating this sort of image paradise for the disenfranchised, eventually, it'll be a haven for, things that are going to be more controversial. And eventually that's going to be a bad business, idea.
Well,
and he's going to, be burdened with the same shit that everybody else is on the internet. iOS is going to drop him, whatever.
Well, spoiler alert. He basically says later on and towards the end that he's not here to help other people. He's not here to make other people into the fold, so to speak. He's doing his thing, and other people doing their thing is fine, right? So he's basically going to create the Rippaverse and handle it all himself. He's not going to bring someone in to come and write one of the characters.
That's the whole point. Is like he's not the savior for these people. Like he's just in it for himself.
Exactly.
That's why I wonder if he said he wants to bring other artists or authors or writers into his Rippaverse, because from my understanding, he seems to want to create a whole Rippaverse on his own, with him being like the key driving force behind it.
Yeah, pretty much that's it. I think he said maybe he would be open to, if hand picking specific people to create other things within the same universe, like an image,
right?
Yeah. But they would be like their own characters. Like if you created your own character that's going to exist within the Rippaverse, and I know you're not crazy SJW person, maybe I'll let you.
To make something happen, you know what I mean? We don't have to necessarily put up with all of this terrible media or terrible entertainment or whatever. The fact that that's showing people that this is very well possible and you can certainly be competitive in it, I think is an awesome thing, and that's what it's about. So hopefully it does influence other people to get out there and be great.
Well, here's the one thing I would hope from you is you've clearly managed to establish yourself, whether or not you like it or not, as a figurehead in what is a burgeoning independent comics movement, one you seem to care very much about, as you're trying to establish this parallel economy where indie creators can thrive. So the thing I'm hoping to see from you, and, let me know if this is a ridiculous wish of mine, is that you use this position that you've created for yourself, that you are the hottest thing in comics, and you've raised millions, that you will elevate other independent creators. And not just guys that are, your buddies, because I know you'll do that, of course. But I would love to see on your channel, okay, I'm going to dig through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and just, this is a book I found that's cool, whatever else. Because if you're really interested in creating this parallel economy, you're going to need, allies. And I would hope that you're going to pick allies not just based on, political friendships, but based, again, on the quality of the product. Who's got cool...
Real quick, just another viewer says, Tony, can we have myself and comics on the panel and we get her taking the Rippaverse? Yeah, if she wants to jump on, hit me up on Twitter. You got my Twitter. Or you can hit me up on Discord, Bianca, and I'll throw you a link.
Art, who's got a good story. Is that anything I could expect to see from
well, I've already done that. There's been plenty of people that, hell, I was just on with Graham Nolan yesterday. The great Graham Nolan, who is doing his own thing with Comics, was just on with him. Of course, we've talked about, my man's Gabe El Taib and True Justice in the American Way and what he's doing. There, I've had, other creatives on this channel.
So he's promoted the guy who's drawing his comic. And he's promoted someone who's already established in the comic sphere. Fucking awesome. It's doing God's work.
Shane Davis.
I think you align politically with.
Not necessarily. A lot of those guys are conservative. I'm not conservative, so there's that.
Yeah, you guys share a lot of the same opinions on certain issues.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're politically aligned. That just means we're cordial.
It's a guy personally. I want you to pick some random guy.
Well, that's not really in my. All right. Well, maybe if I feel like it, I'll certainly do that. But if I can, I also believe in networking, and if there's other people that I come across that I feel like it's worth giving them a shout out or whatever, they send me a book or something like that, and they say, hey, check out my work. I'll give it a
parallel economy. I think that's how you have to do it. I think you have to lift other people
I'm not in the business. Let me ask you this.
Don't ask people to kiss the ring either.
Yeah, but that's not my thing. I've never asked anybody to kiss the ring at all ever. So I don't know why you would even expect me to do that. Or why that would even be said.
I'm not saying you in particular, but a lot of people, reach this kind of level.
Well,
I can think of people in comics who, have a very insular group that kind of works to keep other people out, and the mainstream does it as well, of course.
Well, like I said,
So I hope you'll,
I've already done. I think I have enough evidence that proves that I'm already willing to do that. I've done that. And like I said, we've had people on For Canon's Sake that we've talked about their books, their Indiegogo's, their projects, and everything that they're doing. We've already done that. So that's not anything that we need to hope to do. We've already done it. So.
Well, I mean, I can hope it continues.
Yeah,
I'll take your word that you're doing it.
Yep.
And if you, I mean, it's got to be all about the creators. It's got to be about empowering the indie guys. And I hope you are truly committed to that in the way that you say you are. You say you are. I don't have the facts in front of me, but I'll take your word for it. How's that?
Yeah.
He promotes the indie guys, except for the indie guy that was on the show that he muted when he was promoting his comic.
Ooh, yes.
Pretty much.
I don't know if you have. First of all, let's be clear. I never said that I was going to be giving anybody any charity. Certainly, nobody gave that to me by any means. All right. Well,
no, nobody gave him charity, so he doesn't consider all those people fucking blowing them all over social media as charity.
Give me a break.
No, it's what it sounds like. That's what you're like. Hey, go pick a. No, that's not what it is that I do. Maybe I will, like what Aerith did. Big shout out to Aerith.
Again, if you see something you like.
Yeah, well, yeah. If I see something, of course, yeah.
This is a good project.
Right, and I've already done that. Yeah, that's something that I've already done. Like I said, and
I applaud you.
Yeah, I've already done that. So if that's all that it is, hey, I see something I like.
Indie guys are going to get ahead. Is you can't. And you know this, and I'm not saying this is not a lesson for you. It might be a lesson for other people. A rising tide raises all ships. All right.
Yeah.
Did I get that backwards?
No, that's what people do. That's what people have said, and a lot of people have seen.
He seems very aggravated by that quote.
Oh yeah.
From even the Ice On Project already. Like again, a Gabe El Taib and his thing that he does that I have no connection to, which was just.
How can you say that the guy who is the artist on your comic book that you have no connection to his project? Right? That's like saying I have no connection to Bob's thing, right? People are going to associate us. That's the connection. That's how connections work.
I mean, you're not British, so I guess I don't know.
How do you know, Carl? I might be British. I might be British, Governor.
I don't know.
This is in the American way. We saw Chuck Dixon and his project get funded. He came on my show with the Ninja Hunter Bear deal. He came on my show. We talked about that. We ended up getting that funded as well. So yeah, like all of this, what you hey, I hope you lift up. We've already done that. So we've been there and done that. So
fantastic. Well, Eric, I'm going to have to cut this short. Again, I'm about to go do my podcast, The Biggest Problem in the Universe. But I'm going to say this. I'm a skeptical guy. I don't like the political stuff. That is why I've been hesitant to...
He was a little slow on that audio dump. Vito did get the plug in about the biggest problem in the universe.
Yeah.
Which is very funny. I enjoy that show immensely. You hear interesting stories like Vito taking care of his cat with a Q-tip. Gives good pet advice.
To celebrate your success, which is very based in a political sphere. But I'm hoping that that's not all you are. I'm hoping that it's a great book. I'm hoping that you do manage to create a parallel economy that celebrates indie creators, because that is also something I am very excited about. So let's put it this way. I'm hesitantly optimistic after our conversation.
Sweet. Sounds good to me.
I hope that what you have said is truly what's in your heart. And I tell you what, Eric, I want to send you when my comic's done, superkiller.
Salty Eric July.
Oh boy!
Look at that look on his face.
I think he's gonna.
I wish I could.
I think he just broke his roadcaster, bro. That slider's never gonna be the same.
He slid that shit hard, but I mean, again, like Bob said earlier, he could have been funny with it, like, oh, he almost got me that second time. I wasn't expecting that. Caught me off guard. But no, you can tell he's very, very upset. How dare Vito try to plug his book on my show?
And he was too late anyway.
Let me know how much it sucks. I
Sweet,
would appreciate your input as a fellow creator.
sweet. Sounds good.
All right, God bless, Eric. I look forward to talking with you on Twitter some more.
That won't happen. But yep, peace out.
Oh, that'll happen.
So that was we had.
That won't happen because Eric now knows that Vito is ready for him, and Eric likes easy targets. Eric does not like anybody who has trouble. I mean, just watch the Eric July Nerdette debate. If you can call it a debate, it is a fucking debacle.
Had a guy on, he talked about some shit, and there was that. So appreciate that. Let me get to the super chats. Was a colossal waste of time. We did get some higher viewership there.
In the last couple of minutes, does he talk any more about Vito, or is?
I don't think I've watched past this point.
Now we got to watch it. I'm gonna increase the speed just in case.
Certainly. So there's that. So appreciate that. You guys listening through that. I think a lot of people go into
Little Movie Perk says I debated him about Black Superman.
Some kind of way. Prepare for.
Send me the link to that.
Don't fucking work. That's just not how it works.
Oh, he never published it.
This is why, you know, with me,
what a pussy.
I think people that go out of their way to hate me so much have an idea of who they want me to be, right? And this is why.
See, there again, he's using very inflammatory language. He's very smart in the language he chooses. They go out of their way to hate me. No one's going out of their way. I did not have to go out of my way to make this podcast, to make this stream. I did not go out of my way when I made those videos on you, Eric. It was my way. My way was to make the video on you, right? Going out of my way implies that I was going to do something else. I had some other plan in mind, and I literally forced myself to not do the thing I wanted to do and do this other thing because I hate you so much.
It's not our fault. You're a fathead. So there.
Same thing that I was telling the caller is that, dude, you know, if you have your way of doing things and your thing doesn't align with mine, like there's no crime.
Vito got blacked.
There's no crime. Like there's nothing there that.
Oh, just another viewer says you guys are falling for a troll. Vito got baited. No. Eric is legitimately upset. If you watch his content, if you notice the way he interacts with people, this is legitimate upset Eric. And now he's going to spend the next 3 or so minutes convincing his audience that he did not lose, that what he said was important, what Vito said was not.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He starts talking about don't be that guy and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Blues you to having to do what I do, or even like, for the matter, what it is that I do. There's nothing there. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Right? That's your business.
Can you make it a little faster, please?
As a creator, and this is my advice to you guys that are out there: don't be that guy, right? Because he's coming from a complete point of jealousy, right? It's like,
see,
hey,
he called Vito jealous. It's coming from a point of jealousy.
Damn.
The problem with people being enthusiastic, it seems like they're enthusiastic for this reason as opposed to this reason, which is what they should be. That's
not what he said. See, again, very disingenuous. And you basically agreed during the discussion. You agreed that there were people who were enthused because of the particular reason that Vito pointed out. And now you're going back on your previous statement of about 28 minutes ago.
It was like, you know, go do it, right? Like, definitely if you have your own projects, not sure what his project is, don't really care. But apparently he has his own thing. He is far welcome to implement what he thinks makes sense for his thing. You know what I mean? If it works, it works. But that ain't got nothing to do with me. But just as advice to you guys who are fellow creatives, don't do that's an example of how not to be. You don't see someone's success and then get sour because they are seeing that success. That's not a way to.
I don't think anybody's getting so. You sour over his success, guys?
No. I don't even care. Like, we talked about this before we went live. Like, good on him for making 4 million. That's irrelevant to me. I want to critique the work, the art, the book, the story.
There is an echo. I think it's Carl's. We're getting an echo from Carl. Did you take your headphones out, Carl?
No, I flip my mic up when I'm not using it.
I'm watching you.
Is it me? Because I can't hear the echo.
No, I'm pretty sure it was from Carl.
I don't care who you are or who that person is. Like, it's one thing to disagree, let's say, on what it is they do, but you know, he even uses a term. He's upset that people look at this in a certain way. You don't want to be caught up in that shit as a creative. You know what I mean? Because that's not what you do. It doesn't help you.
I think that's the only point. I will give Eric a point on that. Vito did use words like I'm upset, or I don't like the way X, Y, and Z creator is criticizing you. You know, this is what bothers me about it. And when you use that kind of language, you open the door for people like him to go, oh, see, you're really just jealous, or you're really just you hate me, or you're mad, or you're not offering legitimate criticism. So in the future, I would say if Vito criticizes Eric or anyone else, to not say things like I'm upset by this, or this aggravates me when so-and-so doesn't do this or does that, right?
Yeah. It doesn't help you certainly at all, you know, and you know, Jeremy's talked about this a lot before. It's like, hey, you know, you're not doing anything, right? And if you become a threat, I guess, is when you start to see success, and then people start to have a problem with you, and then they voice their opinions. Excuse me.
See, this is wrong too, because obviously if you're not doing anything, obviously if you're a nobody, nobody's going to talk about you, right? Because they don't know about you. Nobody's talking about me because they have no idea who the fuck I am. But I'm sure that if I became 100,000, 200,000 subscriber YouTuber, people will then talk about me because people know who the fuck I am, right? It's just common sense.
Fuck that shit, man. Like, get out there, go be fucking great. And I don't look at other people, especially other independent creators. I don't look at other.
You're jealous of his beard? I'm not. I just shaved my beard completely off.
Dean's beard puts Rippaverse's beard to shame.
I have a beard like Rippa. Like, you see how his hair's all curly and stuff? Yeah, I wish I had like straight hair on my beard like Dean, so I can get the ZZ top going, but I get like fucking Rippa and it just all looks like fucking pubes on my face.
Independent creators doing their thing, you know what I mean, and be like, oh man, that should be me. And I don't like the people are enthusiastic because they're enthusiastic about a reason that's different from what I would be enthusiastic. Like,
well, see, again, Eric always says that people who are enthusiastic about Marvel because it's feminism or MCU or whatever are bad people, right? They're crackheads. And now he's saying, don't criticize the people enthusiastic about my shit. Don't worry about that. I will criticize other people for being enthusiastic the wrong way, but you don't do that shit because those are my fans. Those are my customers. Hypocritical?
Yeah.
I don't fucking. It's kind of whack. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of whack, but anybody's welcome to give it a shot. There's no one way to do anything. That's the point of their decentralized economy, in that there's not one way to do anything. So if you think that you can do something the right way, as some would deem, then go do it. Give it a shot, and good luck. Good luck. But don't be jealous and hating or doing any of that type of shit. You don't want to be that guy. It's the last guy that you want to be. All right, continuing on.
I suck cocks.
Okay.
That's because I wasn't watching it on the July channel.
Don't be.
I don't know. I think one of the biggest things all these guys, you know, say is like they have this huge reaction when any director or writer, actor, actress, whatever says, you know, you don't like it, don't watch. And that's like, as soon as Vito started talking, he's like, well, maybe it's just not for you and doesn't appeal to you and what, like that. And yet none of those guys like called him out. Hey, bro, don't see that. Like, that's like 90% of our videos, dude.
Yeah. They're all, like I said earlier, they're very hypocritical, and they're basically rules for thee, not for me, right? It's okay when I do it. It's not okay when you do it. All in all, I think Vito handled himself a lot better than I would. I would have gotten a lot louder and angrier. And I definitely would have kept pressing him. I'm the kind of person that if you don't answer the question I ask you directly, I will just keep asking you the same question until you answer it.
I mean, the suckiest thing about that was the fact that he was on a phone and not, you know, on his home setup. You know,
well,
because other than that, he was entertaining. He landed some jokes. He got a win, a literal win over him when Eric had to admit, like, yeah, some of these people are running with that notion, and it put him in a bit of a pickle, and
Well, he got
Hey.
2 wins because he had to admit basically that his comic wasn't anti-woke.
Yeah.
yeah.
Justin Lavruga says, Tony, he baited Vito. You guys should just not acknowledge him. He wants Vito to talk about him so he gets people on site. He already had people talking about him. He's got 3.5 million. It's not he's got 500,000 subscribers. So if anything, Vito's getting the boost from being there rather than Eric getting the boost from having Vito on the channel.
Right.
So like I said, yeah, I think just the fact that Vito was on Eric's stream and it wasn't like dual streaming, it wouldn't matter if Vito was at home or not, because if anything got too heated or if Eric got in too much trouble, he would have just fucking kicked him off. Oh, that guy's out of pocket and got rid of him. Because you seen he was willing to dump audio in the middle. No shame.
Shit. Well, guys, I gotta take off. But,
Well, I was just gonna say there's nothing left to talk about. We dissected that video. We've gone through it. This is our second live stream of the day, so we're gonna call it a day. We're gonna end it here. Thank you all for watching.
It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, it's been good chatting to you again, Top Loaded Gaming.
yeah,
Hope
thanks
you're
for
well,
having
man.
me on, and yeah, it was cool talking with all you guys, man.
Anytime you want to come back, we're having open panel like we do every Saturday. Let me plug my show every Saturday after show, Gabbing with Geeks. It starts about 9:30-ish, depending on how long the actual show runs. Then it's open panel. Talk about whatever you want. Audience driven. Sometimes we play games. Sometimes we look at women's butts. Sometimes Carl takes his shirt off. It's crazy is what I'm saying.
Hey, I've not taken my shirt off in months. Thank you very much.
All right.
At least not on camera.
Love, peace, booty grease. I'm out this bitch.
Take it easy.